better player at this moment in time. I'm so happy that they're both playing.
Yeah, it has been fantastic when they have played this season. His goal against Everton, phenomenal in that 2-2 draw, which was the last time I watched Leeds, and it was a fantastic game of football. But one of 3 games this season in the Premier League for Bielsa's side when they have not won. Is that cause for alarm?
Well, I think the first season back into the Premier League was incredible. I mean, and we covered so many of the Leeds games last season. Exciting, they was always in the game, took the game to the opposition, and I think they would have liked to have started off where they probably finished. The 5-1 loss at home to Manchester United was a real big loss. It really was, and I think that would have affected anybody on the opening day of the season.
Yeah. And for Liverpool, fantastic against Norwich when I watched them on the opening weekend, but I think probably your old under-23 side could probably beat Norwich these days because, you know, that's Norwich City for you. They seem to just kind of give the Premier League a miss. But they were still good, Liverpool, and they were very good against Chelsea. Chelsea going to be tough to beat for anybody this season. What do you make of their start to this campaign?
Well, again, you're right. The Norwich game was a foregone conclusion, wasn't it? You know, they just respectfully against a team that have just come up from the Championship. It was just one of them results that you just knew it was going to be in the 3s, 4s or 5s. I thought they struggled at times against Burnley, and I didn't think they was as fluid as perhaps this Liverpool team can be. You mentioned about the top 3 being the strongest top 3 available to them now. I agree with you, Tom. I think Diego Jota, when he plays in that little wide area and he interchanges with Sadio Mane, I think this front 3 will be taking the team to Leeds United this afternoon. Really good game. The only game on this Premier League Sunday. Last season, Sean alluded to it, we covered both these games and they were fantastic matches of football. A year ago, yesterday, I think, was the game at Anfield starting last season, which was a phenomenal return to the Premier League for Leeds. In the end, Mo Salah won a dubious penalty to get Liverpool all 3 points there, and a draw here at Elland Road equally as spectacular in terms of entertainment. So we look forward to a big game today. And briefly, Sean, before we go to break, I've got to throw one further thing into the mix of those games we watched last year. We've also got a packed house Elland Road for this game as well. Well, absolutely fantastic to see so many stadiums now full to the rafters, and none more so than Elland Road. I mean, having played there in the past, understanding what these fans bring to this team, they'd have been gutted not watching this Leeds United team last year, but now that is going to be the best part of 40,000 in this afternoon. Be a wonderful atmosphere. Yeah, and there's been discussions, and certainly planning permission I think was given recently to expand Elland Road to 55, 56,000 coming up soon as well. And they'll fill it, in the Premier League. They'll fill it up there without a doubt. They absolutely will, and I'd happily come and watch every Leeds game with Bielsa in charge, and this team so entertaining. They can absolutely land a glove on Liverpool today. We shall find out when the game kicks off in around about 20 minutes or so. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll look back at yesterday's games in the Premier League. I hear Ronaldo came back. There's no way of knowing. We'll find out after this. You're listening to Premier League Live.
It's the ultimate fusion of football and celebrity. The Best 11 podcast from TalkSport. Johnny Owen and Mark Webster interview the biggest names in popular culture, looking back at the role the beautiful game has played in their lives.
Paul Weller. Could I just start off apologising for last weekend?
Actor Stephen Graham. Good morning, Stevie.
Morning. Sharing their earliest football memories, how they celebrated their team's successes, culminating in their all-time best 11.
Noel Gallagher.
Let's deal with the hangover and let's have it again after that.
The Best 11 podcast. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Tom Rennie. Join me for a weekly podcast, Week in the Tackle, available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm going to be joined by Brian Dunseth, MLS legend, to tackle the biggest stories from the week in soccer.
And the great thing about working with Tom and making Week in the Tackle is we're only going to be covering things we think are worth tackling.
This show is all about passion. What's going to get us riled up? What's going to get you riled up to give us all something to chew on?
We're not here to sit on the fence and tell you the stories of the day. That's what your phone's for. You'll be scrolling through Twitter while listening anyways.
Exactly. I'm scrolling through Twitter right now. I'll save you the trouble. It is all bad news. This show is about tackling all the news of the week, giving our take on why it's interesting and why we think you should know it.
Who should be sacked? Who should be bought? Who should be sold? Who was right? Who was wrong?
Strong opinion, big stories, no agenda.
Week in the Tackle is available on Mondays from wherever you get your podcasts. If it's a big story in soccer, we'll tackle it.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day's biggest sports stories with the Talk Sport Hit. Crammed full of the latest team news, big match previews, and discussing the day's hottest topics.
An improvement week in, week out.
Plus, get all the latest results and full fan reaction to the biggest events in world sport.
It's a wonderful goal!
Satisfy your thirst for sports news with the Talk Sport Hit. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
The Women's Football Weekly Podcast.
With Faye Carruthers. All the action, excitement and drama from across the entire women's game.
Clean off the line by Steph Horton.
Including the Women's Super League.
Ellen Wright is there to tap it in.
The UEFA Women's Champions League.
Lana Cleland striking from outside the penalty area.
And the Euro 2021 qualifiers.
On the edge of the area to Emsley. And Emsley's going to finish it off.
Plus, all the home nations' international friendlies.
Lucy Bronze with the strike from the edge of the penalty area.
World-beating big match conversation.
There's Jodie Taylor.
Subscribe now to the Women's Football Weekly Podcast on Acast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to Premier League Live. The only game on this Sunday comes from Elland Road in Yorkshire, where Leeds United take on Liverpool. Headlines from the team news. Everyone you'd hope would be available for Leeds is available. Dan James just signed from Man United, only on the bench. As for Liverpool, one change from last week. Henderson drops out and Thiago comes in, or 2 weeks ago, the last Premier League weekend. Firmino not in the squad. Jota, Mane, Salah is the front three. Look out for Mo Salah today, on the verge of 100 Premier League goals. Tom Rennie and Sean Derry with you. Sean, question from Benjamin to @TalkSport Live on Twitter. Now, I like to impress people with my knowledge, but I don't have this, and I'm hoping you do. He asks, does Tom Rennie know who Sean Derry scored his first Leeds United goal against? And to be honest, I didn't do my bio on you this morning. Do you know this?
I have a little idea, Tom, yeah. I think it was against your team, West Ham, mate.
Is that true?
And it was a winner in the last 5 minutes.
I don't remember this. I must have blacked out for obvious reasons.
The best and only, well, I say the only goal. I scored 3 at Elland Road, and that was by far the best goal, without a doubt.
Well, thanks for bringing it up, Ben. I really appreciate that. Sean and I were getting on so well.
I told you about my goal against West Ham, Tom.
You must have told me, and I probably was there, but in both incidences, I completely blacked out.
I'm sure there's a video somewhere.
We're going to search for the video, and if we come back after the next package and I'm crying, you'll know that I've seen it. The next package, what is it, I hear you ask, dear listener? It's a review of Saturday's Premier League games.
Gallagher, here's Edouard again. He scored again. 3-0 Palace on St Edouard, who's only been on the pitch for 6 minutes, has scored 2 goals on his Crystal Palace debut, and Tottenham have been well and truly put to the sword.
As a team performance, and the players who came from the bench give us a little bit more energy as well. So I was really pleased with that.
Forward now, Shaw to Ronaldo, surging through, and Cristiano Ronaldo has scored again. The fairy tale continues. It's written in the stars once more. Ronaldo gets his second as he nutmegs Woodman.
No, you can never ever overestimate Cristiano. You know, he won't stop surprising people.
Chips the ball towards the far post. Markel on the line, and it's knocked in the end. And it is a debut goal for the South Korean Hee Chang-hwang for Wolves to make it 2-0.
Trossard into the box, trying to get on his right foot. Low shot, it's into the back of the net. What a late goal! Leandro Trossard, 19-yard tag, curls it into the bottom left-hand corner of Reyes' net. Brighton take the lead in the final minute of the game.
Driven in from the edge of the box, deflected off. Soyuncu might fall here for Manchester City, and it does. Bernardo Silva. Schmeichel had gone to ground after the initial attempt was blocked in front of him. And Bernardo Silva was alive and alert.
Saka, inside right goes Pepe.
Pepe opens up, pushed onto the post by the keeper, and the second time of finding home. And somehow Arsenal have got the ball in there. They hit the woodwork twice. It's either Aubameyang or Pepe that got the final touch.
The equator away from Tyrone Mings here. Chance for Chelsea to make it 3. Lukaku! Romelu Lukaku with his second. with Chelsea's third. He is simply so deadly. Yeah, that's the story of Saturday in the Premier League. The biggest story, you may have missed this, you probably didn't, was the return of Cristiano Ronaldo. And not only did he start the game, which we weren't quite expecting, he also won the game for Man United, scoring 2 goals. Let's hear from his boss, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
No, you can never ever overestimate Cristiano. You know, he won't stop surprising people, and you know, even at his age, the way he looks after himself he's so hungry for more, and very happy. Of course, we know what good a goal scorer he is, and today he senses the moment and he comes alive.
Sean Derry, one of those things with Cristiano Ronaldo yesterday, you know, the cliche is, you couldn't write that. That's always wrong. You could write that, and that's pretty much exactly what you would have written.
Well, he seems to have this horrible habit of just scoring goals, doesn't he? And on his debut yesterday, the script was written. I think he writes his own scripts, Tom, of course. He
can afford it, can't he?
I mean, it was incredible, wasn't it? A little bit of help, I think, by the Newcastle goalkeeper, Freddie Woodman, along the way. Probably for both goals, actually, but take nothing away from the man. I think the interesting thing for me, I think his intensities are going to bring Manchester United up probably 10%.
Well,
where they can go.
People will say it's knee-jerk reaction, and people will say it's only one game, and you know, last week we asked, was he too old? But, you know, we can only react on what we've seen yesterday. My question is, does the Ronaldo signing mean we take them seriously as title contenders?
I think we do. I think we have to, because of the stature of the man. And like I say, it's not just what he brings to the pitch, but the influences that he has in and around Old Trafford, the training ground in particular. So I think that's a really, really well assembled squad that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got there. But it needs a trophy this year. For me, if they don't get a trophy with that squad available, then they'll be really disappointed up in Manchester.
But what a day it was for Manchester United fans yesterday, and indeed the current team, because Newcastle played reasonably well, but you just weren't going to stop Ronaldo yesterday. Elsewhere, Sean, you weren't going to stop Crystal Palace yesterday, were you? Now, of course, you're a former Premier League midfielder for Leeds and for Queen's Park Rangers, but also for Crystal Palace, where you now work as first-team coach, and I'm led to believe you masterminded the victory yesterday, and I refuse to take your false humility that the truth is otherwise. Talk to me about that victory over Tottenham, because I think many of our listeners would not have seen that coming.
Well, we played really well a couple of weeks earlier against West Ham, your club.
Yeah.
You know, the second half performance away at West Ham was really impressive, and we carried that on yesterday. And the lads were fantastic, and of course, you know, you need to look at the bigger picture of games of football, and some would say perhaps Spurs didn't bring their strongest of squads, but we never let them settle. We never let them grab hold of the game at any point, and we played very, very well and convincingly won the game yesterday, and it probably could have been more.
Feel free to sidestep this question if you want, but one of the great tragedies for me of recent Premier League history is that Wilfried Zaha has had to play for years with Christian Benteke. Now he gets to play with Odsonne Edouard, who came on and scored a couple of goals. His first one was in like 27 seconds. Feel free to ignore the first bit, that was a joke for our audience. Talk to me about Wilfried Zaha's performance and also Edouard's debut.
Well, Wilfried's performance was everything that we come to expect from Wilfried Zaha. He will be slightly disappointed with the start of his season, purely because of the levels that he knows he can get to, and he done that yesterday. He was absolutely by far our standout performer, and we had some top performers yesterday. But for me, Wilfried Zaha just got the whole stadium rocking. And when the home fans can do that at Selhurst Park, it really is a massive factor to the way we play.
Yeah, and you can see it got to Japhet Tanganga as well, the way he pretty much got himself sent off. Elsewhere yesterday, a few stories. Sean, I know you were busy. I'm sure you've seen the highlights of many of these games. Arsenal scraped past Norwich by a goal to nil. Will they stay up?
Tom, you don't half tickle me.
Come on, go have some fun on Sunday, haven't you?
They have had a really, really troubled start, haven't they, Arsenal? And by hook or by crook, whatever happened yesterday, they needed 3 points, and they got it. And I saw the goal, and it was, some would say, a little bit fortuitous, of course. But however they come, the 3 points in the Premier League just gets your season going, and that's all Mikel Arteta would have been hoping for yesterday.
They are out of the bottom three at the moment, Arsenal. They've gone above Leeds, but of course have played a game more, and it's still a fledgling Premier League table, so don't read too much into it. But maybe you should. If you're Brighton, they sit fourth right now, 9 points from 4 games played, 3 victories. They don't score many, They don't concede many. It was a great game yesterday against Brentford for the Seagulls. Talk to me about what they've done, because, you know, we're always praising Graham Potter for the football they play, you know, but they've also got such a solid defence as well, and they've sold their best player, best defender, to Arsenal, and have got better.
Well, it's strange, isn't it? You know, you look at Brighton's performances last season, and for the vast majority of, you know, if you was to just single-handed look at possession, they was always in control of the games without having that cutting edge. And that was a big result for them away yesterday. I mean, we played Brentford the second game of the season for Crystal Palace, and they were mightily impressive after beating Arsenal on the opening day. So to go away and beat Brentford yesterday, that will give them we've got them in a couple of weeks, to be fair, Crystal Palace, and the derby between Palace and Brentford is really now lit up for a fantastic game.
We haven't got the time to explain that derby to people. I'd love to. I'd love to just Google it. There's something to do with Alan Mullery or something. It makes no sense. But you know what? Tune in when we do that game, and we'll give you a full explanation like we do every year. It still makes absolutely no sense. That was yesterday. Let's move on to today. Just one game in the Premier League between Leeds and Liverpool. Now, going into this game, of course, lots of narrative in terms of Leeds' first game against Liverpool at a packed Ellen Road in the Premier League for 20 years and all that sort of stuff. But this week, the story's all been about the Brazilian players, of which there are many across the two teams. And we didn't think they would be available up to and including the end of business on Friday. There was some sort of deal done with the Brazilian Federation to get them to play. Jurgen Klopp was asked about the situation earlier in the week, and here was his response.
Because of the World Cup coming up and the World Cup qualifiers will obviously have to be played, I think, there are only two solutions. Either we say, okay, we make kind of a set list for the World Cup and say, come on, these teams like Brazil or Argentina, they are qualified anyway every year. So let them go to the World Cup. And in Europe, obviously, the same for some teams. It's not the nicest for competition, I know. And then the only other solution we have is obviously exemption from the government. So, and it's now, again, I can understand when people say, I cannot travel, but they are allowed to travel. Just to describe again the life we live. We live in bubbles. We live in a moment. It's again home, training ground, home. So done. That's a bubble. And when they move to the national teams, as far as we know, at least, it's exactly the same. So they live there in a bubble. So we are not part of normal life. That's why it worked. These kind of things worked really well. We had a European Championship in the summer, and it worked quite well. So it's not that the numbers increased now, and we had people in the stadium. But we talk about these 22 players on the pitch plus 50, I don't know, all together around. That they would be a risk. They are of course not. So we have to make, at one point somebody has to make a decision, otherwise we just move that problem from one international break to the next. And I cannot decide that, obviously, but it's not okay that in the end then only the players and the clubs get punished for it, because we had nothing to do with neither nor. And that's it.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say Jurgen Klopp was frustrated with that situation this week, but the good news is his Brazilian players are able to play today. Sean Derry, who is with me, it's so difficult, isn't it, to plan for these games anyway, but would Klopp and Bielsa have had 3, 4, 5 different plans in place depending on who was available today because of the chaos of the last week? Yeah, absolutely, and I think, you know, the passion that Jurgen Klopp speaking, you know, to the press about the situation just then is the same as what the Leeds United camp would be feeling as well. Of course, when Marcelo Bielsa speaks, it seems to be like this, you know, the South American contingent really listen as well. So I would hazard a guess that when these two real big managers speak, the federations have to listen as well. Yeah. It's very difficult planning around COVID. You know, I didn't actually experience it until I'm now in it, understanding the bubbles are so secure. And as soon as one of them collapses, it does take time to recreate another one. And that's the big problem in modern day in trying to deal with this situation. It's a problem that has been exacerbated by the international break we've just had. Another one coming up in 4 weeks, another one a few weeks after that. If only somebody knew there was some sort of virus going around, they could make some plans for it in advance. I don't know. It couldn't be done. And we look forward to further chaos in 4 weeks and more chaos after that. We're looking forward to chaos in a positive light when we come back after this next break, because this game in the Premier League is going to be fantastic. Let me tell you, Leeds United have been brilliant at the start of the Premier League in terms of entertainment, and yet they've not been able to pick up any points. Liverpool, the best unbeaten record in the Premier League right now. They meet in front of a packed Ellen Road today. The atmosphere is fantastic. The players are in the tunnel. The kick-off is next. Stay with us. You're listening to Premier League Live.
From the terraces to the touchline, if you're the ultimate football fan, you need to subscribe to the Game Day podcast from TalkSport.
Oh yes! He's done it again!
It's the twice-weekly Premier League roundup that brings you big-name guests, in-depth previews and tough-tackling analysis from the world's biggest football league.
Oh, what a finish! He's beaten the keeper to it!
Feel the might of the top flight. Subscribe now to the Game Day podcast. Available on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get bowled over with Following On, the fast-paced cricket podcast from TalkSport that'll hit you for 6. It's a pitch-perfect delivery of first-class cricket news.
And that's a beautiful straight drive.
Boasting an impressive strike rate of exclusive big-name guests.
Oh, you little ripper!
And fielding fierce fan reaction.
Oh, that might be out.
Don't get caught out. Subscribe now to the Following On podcast. Available on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
They faced bitter prejudice.
What they had to endure was horrific.
They battled injustice.
Basically, they threw the rule book away.
But their talent was inextinguishable, and they rose to become sporting icons that etched their legacy on the history of English football.
What a strike! What a finish!
Coming in from the Cold is an exclusive 6-part documentary that chronicles the struggles and the triumphs of black footballers in the English game. Join Jessica Crichton as she uncovers the untold stories and hears firsthand from a host of superstar names, including John Barnes, Viv Anderson, Luther Blissett, Andy Cole, Rachel Yankee, John Fashanu, and many more.
These guys went through it all, and they are true inspiration.
Coming in from the Cold, the history of black footballers in the English game. Listen to the full series now, available on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Tom Rennie here to tell you about a new soccer podcast called Week in the Tackle with me and Brian Dunseth.
That's right, Tom. Well, join us for new episodes every Monday as we argue about all the top soccer stories we think are worth tackling.
Plus, we'll welcome the occasional guest to join in on the debate.
Strong opinions, big stories, no agenda.
Week in the Tackle, available on Mondays from wherever you get your podcasts.
If it's a big story in soccer, we'll tackle it.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day's biggest sports stories with the TalkSport hit. Crammed full of the latest team news, big match previews, and discussing the day's hottest topics.
An improvement week in, week out.
Plus, get all the latest results and full fan reaction to the biggest events in world sport.
It's a wonderful goal!
Satisfy your thirst for sports news with the TalkSport hit. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Leeds United against Liverpool from Ellen Road. I'm your host Tom Rennie. Alongside me for this one is the former Leeds United midfielder, these days Crystal Palace first team coach Sean Derry. This is Premier League Live, and as you can hear on our effects microphones, we are at a packed Ellen Road, one of the most feared and revered venues in English football, and the home side, Leeds United, will be keen to harness that power against Liverpool today as they continue to look for their first win of the season. They don't have a great record against Liverpool to draw on. The last time they beat the Reds in any competition was 20 years ago with Rio Ferdinand and Lee Bowyer on the score sheet back in 2001. In fact, Liverpool have beaten Leeds in the top flight on 49 occasions. Nobody has beaten Leeds 50 times at the top level. Jurgen Klopp's current side looking good shape at the start of this campaign, unbeaten in 3 despite the frustration of dropping 2 points against Chelsea. They will be a team to be reckoned with this season and a tough opponent for Leeds today, make no mistake. Both meetings last season were a fantastic watch, and we are hoping for more of the same today. To the team, starting with Leeds, Ilhan Meslier in goal, back 4 left to right of Junior Firpo, Liam Cooper the captain, Diego Llorente and Luke Ayling. Calvin Phillips holds in midfield with what looks like Rodrigo and Stuart Dallas in front of him, but Leeds a very fluid team in terms of formation, as you'll know. Jack Harrison, Rafinha supporting the number 9 Patrick Bamford. The headline from the bench is that Dan James, signed from Manchester United, is there, as is Christopher Krasen, Tyler Roberts, Pascal Strout, Charlie Cresswell, Crescencio Somerville. I'm reliably informed the fans call him Jimmy for obvious reasons. Google it, kids. Also Matthias Klick, Liam McCarron and Jamie Shackleton. As for Liverpool, Alisson is in goal, the Brazilian. Across the back line, left to right, Andrew Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Joel Matip and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Thiago in today for Henderson, Fabinho and Harvey Elliott complete the midfield. And up front, Mo Salah, Diogo Jota and Sadio Mane. And keep your eye on Mo Salah today, 1 goal short of 100 in the Premier League. On the bench, it's Kievan Kelleher, the goalkeeper, Ibrahima Konate, the summer signing, James Milner, once of Leeds, relegated with Leeds. At last they went down. Naby Keita, Joe Gomez, Jordan Henderson, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Curtis Jones and Konstantinos Tsimikas, who deputised for Robertson in the first 2 weeks of this season. Craig Pawson is our referee. Andrew Madley will be getting it in both ears from both bosses as fourth official, and Darren England is the VAR today. Sean Derry is with me. Wonderful atmosphere as we expected. What do you see happening over the next 45 and indeed 90 minutes?
Well, I think we're going to see a game similar to last season, Tom. I'm hopeful of that. Of course, it was a brilliant opener of last year's Premier League season. And Leeds have been brilliant all last year, and so have Liverpool. And these are the two teams that want to take the game to the opposition. So an all-out attacking afternoon, I'm hoping.
We are moments away from getting underway at Elland Road. Leeds United, white shirts, white shorts, white socks. All players take a knee pre-kick-off. The Premier League is supporting No Room for Racism campaign this season. The players have decided themselves to continue with their stance against racism pre every game in the Premier League this season, and a warm ovation from Elland Road was welcome as well. Leeds do kick us off. They go from left to right as we're looking in the first period. As I mentioned, white shirts, white shorts, white socks, navy numbering and lettering with fluorescent yellow trim on the kits these days. Liverpool kick the other way, right to left as we are looking. Red shirts, red shorts, red socks with white numbering on the back of those shirts. And already Leeds pressing high on Alisson in goal for Liverpool, to Thiago on this near side, who has to hurry upfield with the ball, just about gets it away from the pressing Leeds players. Recovered by Llorente, but not for long, as Liverpool themselves are famed for their press, and they win it back around the centre of the field. 45 seconds gone in the game, and already the intensity as high as we hoped.
Absolutely. You mentioned about the two types of teams that we've seen this afternoon. Very similar in many ways. The press of both teams out of possession is everything about what the best parts of these two teams are. They win the ball back so quickly when they lose it. Liverpool and Leeds do. But the quality that Liverpool have in possession might just be a problem for Leeds this afternoon.
Yes, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's a midfielder these days, according to Gareth Southgate. Not with passes like that. Clips through to Illan Meslier on the edge of his area, and it's a simple take for the young Leeds number 1, all in light blue away to our left. Rafinha has been linked with the move to Liverpool, but all good players seem to be linked with the move away from their clubs. Fouled there by Robertson. Tries a quick free kick. Intercepted. Liverpool back on the ball with Harvey Elliott in the centre of midfield. Just 18 years of age, starting in midfield for Liverpool. Has impressed in the opening couple of weeks of this campaign as well. Look at the press here from Leeds. Back to Alisson from Liverpool into Fabinho. Right to Joel Matip, who carries the ball forward up towards the halfway line. Pass into nowhere really. Recovered by Leeds United, and at the moment, as we expected, it's been quite difficult for either team to settle because the opposition simply won't let them.
Absolutely. And when it comes into this midfield as well, there's so many bodies in there, Tom, at this moment in time, that to grab a foothold on a game as early as the second or third minute, it's very difficult. Bear in mind the atmosphere this afternoon. You know, this is an incredible atmosphere. Both teams, of course, play on the front foot, generates the passion from the fans as well, and as we know, these Leeds fans have missed this team.
Ball forward here towards Bamford, who's surely offside. We're playing on still with Bamford, who controls on the chest and takes a swipe, but I think he probably knew he was well offside. It looked a bit of a lazy effort in the end. It does go wide. The flag is going up a touch quicker this season than last, but still the assistants are allowing play to go on if it's a bit close. It didn't look particularly close, but still we played on nonetheless.
He'll enjoy it this afternoon, Patrick Bamford. I mean, of course, the last time he played was for England against Andorra, and I was there, and it was a difficult night for him. I know England got the victory, but for him in particular, there was no space to run in behind. But with this Liverpool back four, they keep a real high line, so it might just benefit Patrick Bamford.
4 goals in his last 7 appearances in the Premier League, has scored and assisted this campaign as well, and as you mentioned, an England starter as well. It's been a long road for Patrick Bamford, but certainly a top Premier League striker at this stage of his career. And there's a chance for him here as Leeds come forward down the left-hand side. Junior Firpo over the halfway. On to Jack Harrison, up against Alexander-Arnold. Low cross comes in, it's away by Matip at the near post. Recovered over on the left-hand side by the hard-working Stuart Dallas, who slips in Firpo. Back heel towards the penalty area where there were players lurking around the penalty spot, but Liverpool win it back, and now they'll break away with Mo Salah and Jota. Phillips closes the door, but the tackle from Phillips has gone into Salah's path. He'll pick it up right hand side, looks to get away from Calvin Phillips, takes a tumble. You don't get free kicks like that this season, and Phillips brings the ball away for Leeds. Looks cross-field early, beautifully into the path of Rafinha, who's in the area, cuts it back, chance for Leeds! Drive at goal by Rodrigo, straight at Alisson. Liverpool scrambling away. Leeds come again, Rafinha right-hand side. Oh, he scuffs the cross, and Thiago is able to poke away.
What a chance for Leeds United. You're right, you don't get free kicks like that no more in the Premier League. Brilliant by Calvin Phillips, but Liverpool are on the attack now, Tom.
The other way with Harvey Elliott. Lovely, delicate footwork from the teenager into Mane, who tried a return ball but overhit towards Elliott, who was running quite central. The pass was too heavy, and it's gathered by Meslier in goal.
Well, ridiculously, the Leeds United chance started purely because Junior Firpo ended up out of position as a centre forward for Leeds United, and Liverpool broke, but brilliant defensive duties by Calvin Phillips. Just seeing the replay now, it should have been 1-0 to Leeds. The goal had opened up. It was a poor finish in the end.
It's a brilliant opportunity for Rodrigo. £27 million from Valencia last summer, Spanish international player. That's a brilliant opportunity that may be in that great form at the back end of last season. He would have taken it. Not quite sure what he is at this moment in time, Rodrigo, as a player. Is this a good position for him today?
Well, he's playing in an attacking midfield slot today. I mean, he'll be the first one closest to Patrick Bamford, I'm guessing, to support him. But you're right, he's played in various positions for Leeds, and he ended the season last year full of confidence, didn't he?
There was a game at Burnley where he was absolutely sensational in a big Leeds victory. Penultimate weekend of the season, if memory serves, he was superb in that. It's so tough, isn't it, as this ball from Liverpool towards Mane goes into touch for a throw-in for Leeds midway inside their own half. It's so tough, Sean, to almost assess Leeds' formation at times because of the way they track individuals from the opposition, and so suddenly you've got maybe Stuart Dallas popping up on the right, on the left, and you think, where is he actually playing?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, you try and, of course, watch Leeds United from a tactical perspective.
Well, Rodrigo's given the ball away here. Chance for Mane if he can turn away. He can't from Cooper in the area. Clear, but only as far as Alexander-Arnold. Right-hand side, low cross. Right across the 6-yard box. Jota couldn't get there, and it goes for a goal kick.
What a cross that was. I mean, we watched him for England in midfield, which, of course, is not his best position, but this is where he loves picking up the ball. Look where he picks the ball up, right on the edge of the 18-yard box, and a fantastic ball into the area.
Jurgen Klopp said on Thursday pre-weekend, why would you take the best right back in the world and put him in central midfield? Sean, why would you take the best right back in the world and put him in central midfield?
Well, of course, you know, it was something strange when you witness it close hand. When I went to the game, I couldn't understand it myself, but very quickly ended up at right back, and that is his best position, arguably the best positional right back in the league.
Fabinho's run the ball in midfield for Liverpool and finds Salah down the right. Around the end line, he comes back in field and finds Harvey Elliott, then Fabinho, then Alexander-Arnold. The boost from Mo Salah, who took that gentle tumble a few moments ago, something that will bring some flashbacks to Leeds fans from last season. Here's Sadio Mane, right-hand side, towards the end line, digs out a cross. Now he's a tall goalkeeper, and he's able to get both hands on that.
Yeah, and that's the problem when it gets into this front three for Liverpool. We talk about the positional stance for Leeds United. You look at the front three for Liverpool, they're always going to be intertwining this afternoon. It's always going to be a case with perhaps one or two of them coming short, and one of them has to go long, and that'll cause a lot of problems for Leeds.
8 minutes gone already in this game. Fantastic stuff so far. One massive chance for Leeds going begging. Leeds 0, Liverpool 0 here on Premier League Live. At TalkSport Live, by the way, is the place to get in touch on Twitter. Let us know where in the world you are listening to us, and indeed your thoughts on the game as well. Always enjoy your contributions to the programme. It's a throw in here for Liverpool on the halfway line, right hand side. Alexander-Arnold takes it down the line to Mo Salah, who's backing into Firpo, and he turns away from Firpo, and that one is a foul on the Liverpool player, who said he got away from him, but I think everyone had stopped, considering Junior Firpo did about 6 fouls there before it was eventually given. That's the other side of the coin, isn't it, with the letting things go, that sometimes it's obvious there's a free kick that should be given that isn't.
Absolutely, great play there by Mo Salah. As soon as he pins you, you're in trouble. You know, he uses his body brilliantly, and Junior Firpo there doesn't want to be giving free kicks away, not when you've got somebody on the ball like Trent Alexander-Arnold.
It is going to be Alexander-Arnold, right hand side line, around about 30 yards from the corner flag for Liverpool. To whip this ball in, Matip, Fabinho, Virgil van Dijk at the back post, Harvey Elliott, Diogo Jota at the near. Leeds line on the edge of their area, ball is whipped in but too low, hits the two-man wall. Recovered by Thiago on the halfway line. Alisson had come a long way, but Thiago took it instead. On to Harvey Elliott, who under some pressure from Bamford goes back to Alisson, outside of his penalty area by about 10-12 yards here. All in light lime green. Into Thiago, back to Alisson, and he will find Virgil van Dijk, whose absence was so keenly felt last season. Eased his way back in the first weeks of the season. Had one of the easiest games of his entire career against Norwich on the opening week. But the tests are getting tougher for Virgil van Dijk as he clips this ball forward towards the run of Mo Salah, intercepted by Ayling. Breaks to Harrison in the penalty area. Pass forward towards Rodrigo, back to Harrison, still in their defensive third here, Leeds, trying to play their way out. Tough to do against Liverpool, and the Reds have won it back. Alexander-Arnold finds Jota on the edge. Can't turn away from his man, but he does find Sadio Mane, who takes a snapshot at goal. That's blocked by Diego Llorente. And it's first corner of the match, a Liverpool corner on the right.
Little discussion there by two of the Leeds players. Luke Ayling's just saying to Diego Llorente, just be careful, you know, when you come out into these zones to go and press. Got to be very careful. I mean, he done well in the end. But this is where the problem is for Leeds United last year, giving that ball away on the edge of the box, being counter-pressed.
Ball on the attacking right-hand side for Liverpool. Van Dijk a big threat in these situations, as is Joel Matip. Going to be taken by Alexander-Arnold here. Outswinger, right-footed, up in the air by Rafinha, forward by Salah from the edge. Right, Cooper was all over Matip there, but the referee lets it go and Leeds will thump it clear. Robertson back defending. Robertson, a cool customer under some pressure from Bamford, will find a pass back to Alisson. 12 minutes gone, 0-0. Blasted long. Cooper and Llorente getting each other's way a little bit. Blasted upfield towards the halfway line by Llorente, flicked on towards Mane from Salah. Liam Cooper is adjudged to have fouled the Liverpool man, and in fact he's going to get a yellow card for stopping that turn towards goal from Sadio Mane.
And that's the problem when you adopt this system, when you go man to man all over the pitch. When you go and engage the opposition like Liam Cooper did there, you've got to make sure you win it, because these front three, they're brilliant back to goal. They really are. They get a lot of free kicks, buy a lot of free kicks as well, just like we've just seen them by Sadio Mane.
Was done in a similar sort of incident for the penalty against Everton, wasn't he, Liam Cooper, holding on to his opponent. In that case it was Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Just needs to be a bit more careful with that, I think. Liam Cooper giving away some soft free kicks and a soft penalty that day. This one's right hand side, it's a long way from goal, but Robertson, Alexander-Arnold over it. Here's Alexander-Arnold's delivery, it's towards the back post. Everyone went near, and that's a goal kick.
Well, Liverpool will be slightly disappointed with the quality going into the box. Just looking at Jurgen Klopp there, a little bit perplexed to understand why the quality's not gone in there. They've had 4 or 5 good opportunities in wide areas. Just not seen the quality just yet from Trent Alexander-Arnold, the quality that we all know he's got.
13 minutes gone. Leeds 0, Liverpool 0 on Premier League Live. Tom Ronnie and Sean Derry with you. The only game of this Premier League Sunday. We do have a Monday night football for you tomorrow. Everton take on Burnley. Kevin Hatchard and the former Burnley winger Michael Kitely with you at 7:30 UK time. Our coverage gets underway. Do check your local listings. Here's Calvin Phillips, who's won the ball in midfield, and he drives forward. He's passed towards Bamford, a touch too heavy. Bamford, if he'd have touched that into his own path there, would have been through on goal.
Oh, it's brilliant play by Calvin Phillips. Fantastic. Broke the play up, drove with it into space, and as we've seen in his game the last 18 months, he's got a pass at the end of it.
A chance here for Liverpool, maybe, for a ball from Leeds, ricocheted off a Liverpool leg, nearly to Sadio Mane. Meslier a long way off his line to clear it. Good reading of the game there by Meslier.
We say it all the time, Tom, don't we, when we watch Leeds United? The tempo that the games are played at are just phenomenal.
You really do have to take several espressos on board before doing a commentary of a Leeds game. Really fantastic to watch our Bielsa's team. That does mean they leave gaps, they leave openings, and they can get beaten by teams like Liverpool because they try and match them, which they've done so far. 14 minutes gone. Here's Salah's cross to Jota. Oh, fantastic play from Jota. Brings it down the chest, volleys it goal. Meslier is equal to it.
Brilliant combination play there. Wonderful ball into the box, and again just finding them little pockets on the edge of the box. Mo Salah, Jota done really well, didn't he? Chested it down, swiveled in one turn. Good save in the end by Meslier.
So casual, wasn't he, about saving it? It may have been so close to him that he could be like that, but it's still a good reaction stop, and he picked up the second ball as well. A booking here for Fabinho since then. Second yellow card of the match. Liam Cooper of Leeds was booked moments before. He was a little bit late on Rodrigo there, around the halfway line. One of those ones that you usually get away with in the first 15-20 minutes, but not today.
No, not today. I think he done well as well. he was rolling around a bit, wasn't he? Probably helped the referee's decision.
We've got to put a bit of sauce on the goose, otherwise you don't get those yellow cards. That's how it works. Here's Liam Cooper on the halfway line for Leeds. Chipped out left, on towards Dallas and Harrison. Challenge on Jack Harrison just as Junior Firpo had got up to help, and now with Liverpool winning the ball back, there are holes to exploit as Thiago finds Mane. Mane tries to slip in Salah in that gap, but the pass was poor and Cooper has run it back. There is Junior Firpo, one of the players that was out with a COVID issue during the international break. He's back and he's healthy and he's playing for Leeds United over on that far side. It's on the right now with Rodrigo. Slips in Bamford, who stayed on side. He's goal side of Matip. Bamford in the area, crosses deep. It's over Harrison, who will just be able to run out to the far side and keep it in Leeds control. 16 minutes gone, 0-0. Harrison back to Firpo, left-footed cross, deep delivery. It's over Bamford. Jota backtracking Ayling. Ayling wants to win a corner, might win a throw. 1-0 in the end. It's come off him last, says the assistant referee.
Yeah, just going back to the movement from Bamford. Fantastic. He knows he can't play in front of Virgil van Dijk. He's too strong. He's got too much about him, Virgil van Dijk. But he knows that this Liverpool team keep a real high line. And he's made 3 or 4 really good runs. He was found very nicely there. But his final ball at the end of it, slightly disappointing there for Patrick Bamford.
17 minutes gone, 0-0 on Premier League Live. Hello to Stanley, listening to us out in Nigeria. 2-0 victory for Liverpool, he predicts. Obiora with us as well, who's still basking in the glow of the return of Cristiano Ronaldo, it seems, following yesterday's double scoring performance from him. Keep your tweets coming into @TalkSport Live. Hello to Moses with us. Trevor is with us too, listening around the world @TalkSport Live. Let us know where and your thoughts on this game as well. We'll still accept some tweets on Ronaldo, why not? More with Liverpool in their defensive third here, trying to work their way clear. Look at the pressing here from Rafinha and Rodrigo, and eventually Robertson has to go long. Mane battles on the halfway with Llorente, one back by Llorente, Dallas and Phillips, who volleys back to Cooper in the centre circle. Forward now to Firpo, who carries Leeds upfield. On to Harrison, who takes on Alexander-Arnold. Around the corner of the penalty area, beats him too. Still going. Junior Firpo tries a snapshot. Blocked by Fabinho. Away by Sadio Mane. And Jota has his pocket picked by Firpo, and Leeds will come again.
This is brilliant by Leeds United. The intensity they're playing at, right on the front foot, showing no respect for Liverpool here.
Forward towards Rodrigo. First touch, gets the ball into his path, but then he's got to get around Virgil van Dijk, which is, well, I was going to say easier said than done, but you're not going to do it. Simple as that. And Virgil van Dijk has won it back. Upfield now to Sadio Mane. Centre circle. On the floor to Mo Salah, far side, who's in space. Corner of the area, right-hand side. Chops into the area, wants a pass, wants a release, finds Mane, who shoots a goal. It's blocked by Cooper. Going to spin out a play for a corner here. Junior Firpo rather gave that up. It is going to be a corner to Liverpool on the attacking right-hand side.
Crazy start to this game. 19 minutes gone, it's not settled down at all. Both teams going right for the jugular. It's fantastic to see.
No breakthrough as yet, but you would be stunned if in 70 minutes from now this game was still at 0-0. We're approaching 20 minutes gone. It's a corner to Liverpool right-hand side. Trent Alexander-Arnold will take it. Swing up right-footed. Van Dijk, Matip, Fabinho forward. Ball comes in. Van Dijk there. Bamford is two. Clears for Leeds. Thiago recovers. Rodrigo is chasing, but it's cushioned back to Robertson on the halfway line in space. Forward again to Thiago. Poked into Matip. Phillips pressing. Back to Robertson. Ball in Liverpool possession, as it's been for 70% of this match to this point. Fabinho forward. Jota controls. Back to goal. Back to Thiago. Into the centre circle now. Square to Joel Matip, who steps out. Carries forward. Finds Salah. Return ball. Joel Matip. Edge of the area. Pass right. Alexander-Arnold. Low ball. Mo Salah. 1-0. And that's 100 goals in the Premier League for Mo Salah. It's a brilliant Liverpool move. It's brilliant Liverpool interplay. And it's a brilliant Liverpool who lead Leeds by a goal to nil.
Well, it's stemmed by the centre-half, Joel Matip, stepping into this midfield, showing a lot of ability on the edge of the box and just laid it off really smoothly into the right-hand side. And we've been questioning the quality coming into the box by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not here, Tom. This was a wonderful ball into the box, and Mo Salah right at the end of it. Interlinked, fantastic, got in between players and does what he does best. Brilliant finish.
Such a sensational move from Liverpool. It really was. It's pass and move and carry, and everyone knew what they were doing. Leeds simply could not keep up with it. There's some question maybe of Salah being in front of the ball. They're just checking that now, but he looks fine from every angle we have seen so far. And with that goal, as I mentioned, 100 up in the Premier League in 162 appearances, 98 of those goals scored for Liverpool, 2 for Chelsea. He becomes the 5th fastest player to reach that 100-goal milestone. Alan Shearer, Harry Kane, Sergio Aguero and Thierry Henry, 5th fastest player to reach that milestone. There's been 30 to this point who have scored 100 or more for their various teams in the Premier League. But what an incredible record that is for Mo Salah.
Absolutely unbelievable, and he's been getting some stick in this opening period as well. What a way to silence your critics.
And now Leeds have to regroup, because Liverpool with the lead will be looking to press on here and wrap this game up if they can in the next few minutes. And they come forward here with Robertson, edge of the area, into Jota. Going to be a tough couple of minutes here for Bielsa's side. They've got to continue to defend, they've got to continue to work. Rafinha with the challenge here. Goes down to play for a throw on this near side. Liverpool have it again. How tough are these minutes when you've just conceded against a team like Liverpool?
Well, it's very difficult, because Liverpool again, they won't just want to settle on 1-0. They'll be going out for that second goal as quickly as possible, and they've got the quality. And we mentioned about when you play against this Leeds United team, and you know how dangerous they are on the counter attack. We're just watching here. Now there was a good player. We've just seen a sight of Robbie Fowler just come on our screens, and he's again Leeds United and Liverpool legend, really.
Another of those players to have scored over 100 goals in the Premier League, Robbie Fowler, for both of these teams, Man City as well.
But I was just saying about the two centre-halves, both so confident and comfortable in possession, Virgil van Dijk and Joel Matip, and that's where the goal come from. They are like midfielders in possession. They're so talented.
Both teams have had one golden chance. Rodrigo fired straight at Alisson for Leeds, and Mo Salah fired into the back of the net for Liverpool, and that's the difference between the two at the moment. As Harvey Elliott brings Liverpool forward right-hand side, nutmegs Dallas, but Dallas won't let him get the return. One of the most hard-working players in the league, Stuart Dallas. That's a good challenge as well, clean challenge but firm. Throw on the far side to Liverpool. 23 minutes gone. They are leading by a goal to 0.
And a lot of the plays coming down this right-hand side for Liverpool, I think they've called a weakness. It's just very difficult when you've got players like Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah down that right wing. No surprise that a lot of the movements take place down that side.
Here's Jota in the centre circle for Liverpool, who finds a pass out right to the 100-man Mo Salah, who runs at Junior Firpo, takes him on, beats him on the outside. Firpo does well to get back and stop the cross, and it's a throw to Liverpool around about level with the penalty area right side line. Tough day for Junior Firpo today against Mo Salah.
Very difficult for him, because you don't get the support of your wide players, because Leeds don't play that way. You're always on the front foot, so you are left exposed 1v1, 2v1 sometimes.
You need to win the one-on-one with Mo Salah. Good luck to you, Junior. Flick towards Mo Salah this time by Alexander-Arnold. No flag goes up. Leeds fans wanted it. Crossed by Salah, and that's 2-0. Surely the offside flag's going to go up now. Thiago's put it in, and so the goal for the moment is chalked off, but the assistant didn't put it up because he thought this was close, and we're seeing the replay now. That is close.
Well, it was
probably just off.
Probably, Tom, but the back four, see how they just stopped Leeds. You can't do that in modern day Premier League football.
We don't see the workings out like we used to on our TV monitors, so all we get is a definitive whether it was a goal or not these days. It has not been given the goal. He was offside, so it is still just 1-0 to Liverpool. Breathe a sigh of relief, Leeds fans, including Chris King, listening to us out in Reno, enjoying the coverage. Well, until a second ago, he says, "Come on, Leeds," with a lovely picture of the Leeds United badge on a hat somewhere incredibly scenic.
Everywhere you go, I mean, you know, I live in London now. There's Leeds fans everywhere, all around the world.
And there's near 40,000 in today, watching their team at the moment struggle against Liverpool, and it could be 2-0. Oh, Mane over the top, open goal. Jota down the right side, got goal side, got to the end line, cut it back. Mane's got to score. Mane doesn't score.
Well, he's got a smile on his face, Sadio Mane, but he'll be grimacing to that. I can't understand how he's missed that. Brilliant by Jota down the right wing, and it's on a plate, isn't it? Probably just took a little. I don't even think it bounced in front of him, Tom, did it? It's just a woeful finish.
It's great play from Jota down that right hand side, and Mane's movement is perfect away from Ayling, who had to go to the ball in that scenario. Here they come again. Sadio Mane in the area, back to Jota. Leeds in real trouble here. Jota, Thiago with a shot blocked by Calvin Phillips. Rodrigo can't hold it. Thiago's won it back. Here come Liverpool again. Andrew Robertson poked to Jota, left hand side now, up against Rafinha. Into Salah on the edge. Mo Salah. Here's Robertson, left hand side, return ball blocked by Cooper. Harvey Elliott again, another shot blocked by Meslier. Goes for a corner on the far side, and Leeds are holding on to this game by the fingernails right now.
Well, Ilhan Mellier's just kept his team in it. I mean, that's a wonderful save, but this second goal's got to be coming soon. Liverpool are all over Leeds United. They're in big trouble here.
Corner over on that far side. What do you do if you're Leeds United? It's an onslaught right now from Liverpool. Harvey Elliott, 18 years of age, trying to become the third youngest Premier League scorer in the history of Liverpool Football Club. Great block by Cooper to stop that history from happening. Ball comes in, Virgil van Dijk, it's a free header. Oh, he's missed it. It's a free header. Bamford clears it, but he's put it wide, Van Dijk, and he can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Leeds have got to regroup. They just can't control the emotions at the minute. I mean, there's gaps all over the 18-yard box. You don't want to leave them for Virgil van Dijk. He'll be disappointed. He should have scored there, Tom.
Yeah, I think you're right. That has to go. I expected it to go. I think everyone did, including Virgil van Dijk, as the next corner comes in. Away by Rafinha. Recovered by Thiago. They just can't touch the ball, Leeds, unless they're blocking a shot right now. Robertson back to Alisson. Liverpool regroup. 28 minutes gone. They're winning 1-0. Goal coming from that man Mo Salah. 100th in the Premier League for him. Here's Fabinho, caught by Phillips. Better from Leeds. They've won it back. Now they've got to keep it for a bit. Or they could attack. Here's Calvin Phillips, halfway line. Forward towards Rafinha from Harrison. Matip just able to win it back. A bit too frantic from Leeds trying to get forward there. Here come Liverpool at the other end. Harvey Elliott with a quick ball towards Mane. A bit too fast from him as well, maybe. It's sucked into the game, the two sets of players. Great for us. Ball through to Bamford here, off Fabinho, nearly found Bamford. Van Dijk steps across, knocks it back to Alisson Becker, who gives it a wallop into touch.
Well, the best part of this Leeds United team is the worst at times, because they're always looking to score goals, and with that creates space and opportunity for the opposition. Liverpool have took advantage of that this afternoon.
That's why we love watching Leeds games as neutrals. There's always goals, there's always drama, there's always entertainment. At the moment though, they are trailing and are struggling at the moment to get into the game. Maybe now down the right hand side. 29 minutes gone, 1-0 to Liverpool. Dallas back to the halfway line and Llorente back to Meslier, who's made a couple of good stops in the game. Took over that number 1 jersey at the back end of the championship winning season, and they haven't looked back with him in goal. Star performer of last season, still so young as well. Here's Calvin Phillips, another who starred in that title-winning team and has gone on to become a Premier League regular, England regular too. Up towards Bamford, recent England international, back to Rodrigo, another chance for him. Reverse pass to Bamford, a little bit too heavy. Robertson then gets his body in the way before Bamford could get onto the second. Clever from Rodrigo, but just didn't execute.
Again, it's that run by Patrick Bamford, playing right in the shoulder of both Liverpool centre-halves, and great link play, wonderful reverse ball there by Rafinha, and his touch just let him down. He'll be disappointed with that. He's spent a lot of time out of this game. For 30 minutes he's not really been involved too much.
That does happen though. I watched the game yesterday between Chelsea and Villa. I think Lukaku touched it 5 times, and that was to score 2 goals. That's what the striker's got to do. When the chance comes, you've got to take it, and Bamford hasn't been able to there, as Jota is pulled back here by Llorente, and there's a yellow card for the Leeds centre-half for pulling him back. A long way from goal, but a clear yellow. Now both centre-halves have been booked here for Leeds, and that could be trouble. Good challenge, Calvin Phillips, to win it back for Leeds, and they've got 4 players driving forward here. One is Harrison, left-hand side, held up a bit, crossfield to Rafinha, not a great ball. Robertson wins it back and lumps it upfield. 30 minutes now played. Miscontrol from Phillips. Lets Sadio Mane in. Up against Cooper, who can't tackle too firmly on a yellow. Out to Salah, right hand side, into the area from the right. Back to Mane. Oh, just wide. First time left footed, cut across it. Not sure Meslier would have got it if it was on target, but it wasn't.
Tom, I've said this is the Leeds United problem for a number of years now, and again, we love watching them, of course we do, but unless Calvin Phillips is keeping his control and keeping his position in the centre of that pitch, if he moves from that central position, there's no support for him. Rodrigo's too high. Stuart Dallas is full of energy and rigour in the way that he plays, but he's such a vital component to this Leeds team, isn't he, Calvin Phillips?
Llorente's got a problem here. He's the man who fouled Jota a few moments ago. He's rubbing his right leg, shaking his head at the physios. It looks like Pascal Strauch's already ready to come on here. And maybe that's not the worst thing ever, considering he's on that yellow card, and that might be currency they've got to spend as this game goes on, Leeds. Didn't quite see what happened to him.
No, it looks like a muscle problem. Thigh, I think he's rubbing his thigh. Big problem if that's the case. But you're right, I mean, if you're going to make a substitution, one of them centre-halves coming off, both on bookings, because whoever's going to be playing centre-half for Leeds this afternoon is going to be under a lot of pressure.
Made his debut, I think, Pascal Strauch against Liverpool in the first game of last season, where I was actually quite impressed with him, despite the 4 goals they conceded. Looks like he is going to be coming on now. He's coming off certainly for a bit of treatment here from the physios is Llorente.
Yeah, he's run his race this afternoon, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks that way, yeah. Just trying to see if he was going to try and play on for a bit. Sometimes they go over for a few minutes and try and run it off, whatever they've got, but he's unable to, so Diego Llorente is withdrawn, and Pascal Strauch, the man brought in from Ajax a couple of years ago now, he's on the field of play alongside Cooper at centre half. So there we are.
Yeah, we've seen Strauch, haven't we, in
he's
various
player,
positions.
I think he's quite good.
Yeah, I like him. He can sit in front of the back four as well at times, but this evening it's going into centre half, which is a problem for Leeds United at the minute.
Has been a regular starter for most of his time at Leeds United. Cooper and Llorente, their preferred pairing today. Strauch now on to try and prove to Bielsa he made the wrong call. 33 minutes gone. Leeds 0, Liverpool 1. You're listening to Premier League Live. The goal from Mo Salah in the 20th minute, separating the two teams. For those that missed it, it was his 100th in the Premier League, the 5th fastest player to achieve that milestone. So a great day for Mo Salah, who does love a goal against Leeds United. They have been in control of the game, Liverpool as well, you have to say. Certainly the 10 minutes after the goal, they could have scored 2 or 3. Leeds have done well to weather that storm. Can they stop this run here from Alexander-Arnold? Yes, they can. Great challenge from Junior Firpo. There's a gap here for Harrison to exploit. Salah will hold him up, who's now slotted in at full-back temporarily. Harrison looks to slip in Rodrigo, but it's not a great ball. Straight at Fabinho. And Liverpool will take possession back.
Because they are such a counter-attacking team, Leeds, and that's where a lot of their goals come from, that transitional period where they lose the ball to win it back again. If they're up against a top opponent this afternoon, sometimes you'd be thinking, can they take one more extra pass just to slow the game down?
Strauch forward, intercepted by Fabinho into Joel Matip. As you're describing it, it's almost exactly what you were saying there, that he won it back and tried the killer pass immediately for Leeds, when would do him a favour, I think, just have the ball for a little while. It has been dominated by Liverpool, certainly since the goal. Harvey Elliott turning away from Calvin Phillips, and Phillips annoyed there that no one was onto that loose ball that went to Van Dijk. Sadio Mane himself on the verge of a record, 98 goals he scored for Liverpool. A couple away from his century, not all in the Premier League though. A tip down the line, surely Alexander-Arnold's well offside here, he is. And that's a free kick to Leeds midway inside their own half. 35 minutes gone, it's 1-0 to Liverpool. Would you be happy if your Leeds here to gain at half-time 1-0 down, or will Bielsa throw the kitchen sink as per?
No, I mean, as a player, as a coach too, you'd be looking and thinking, please don't concede again before half-time, because Liverpool, we know Liverpool can go and score at will, can't they? They've got the players to do so. But they've got to regroup, Marcelo Bielsa and his coaching team they've got to create something in this midfield. There's too many gaps, Tom. We've seen it time and time again.
Makes you wonder how fit Matthias Klich is sitting on the bench. Well, bring the energy and balance this midfield seems to be lacking at the moment. But it's Liverpool coming forward. Salah pokes it in the area, cleared away by Calvin Phillips. Here's Rodrigo, who missed a big chance of the game for Leeds earlier. On to Dallas, right-footed cross-field, blocked by Fabinho. Didn't quite have the innovation there from Stuart Dallas, and it's a throw on this right-hand side for Leeds United. On the bench, Matthias Klich, as is the new signing Dan James from Manchester United. Of course, one sub already taken place, which just gives something for Bielsa to think about a little bit more. Only 2 left now, despite the fact 9 are on the bench these days. It is still just 3 subs in the Premier League. Yeah, like that'll probably change at some point.
It has to. I mean, for these two particular teams as well, the way they play, the energy that they play with, 5 subs for these two would be brilliant.
Andrew Robertson wants to take this throw. He's walked about 10 yards down the line before he has taken it, and the referee didn't like it. He'll have to take it again. Feels like he should lose the throw if he's done that. Let's not get into a rule discussion today. One back by Cooper. Rafinha pressed by Elliott, back to Ayling. Lovely play, Luke Ayling shuffles the ball away from 2. Forward towards Dallas, poor touch from him. One back by Liverpool, Thiago on the sideline. In field to Sadio Mane, centre circle. Strauch goes with him. Mane, spaghetti legs here all over the place, but Strauch has stayed to him. All he can do is poke it back to Virgil van Dijk, who strides away from the whole situation, ball at feet. Thiago down the line, Harvey Elliott blocked by Ayling, breaks back to Thiago, challenged by Dallas. Thiago still got it, drifting left to right, pokes to Alexander-Arnold, who's come narrow. Sadio Mane right to Mo Salah, approaching the offensive third, can't get away from Junior Firpo. Salah recovers it over on the sideline. 38 minutes gone, Leeds 0, Liverpool 1. Premier League Live, Joel Matip forward. Down the line to Alexander-Arnold, turns away from Jack Harrison. It's into Jota, leaves it for Elliott. Edge of the area, Harvey Elliott with the drive, but it's just wide from the teenager, with the goalkeeper scrambling to his right.
Again, another breakaway by Liverpool. Just rolled his opponent, didn't he, Trent Alexander-Arnold? I thought he was going to drive into the 18-yard box, but offloaded it early, and Harvey Elliott's getting some brilliant positions on the edge of the box.
Well, he's in today in the midfield in front of the likes of Naby Keita, James Milner, Jordan Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Curtis Jones. It's a real show of confidence in him from Jurgen Klopp as Jota turns here. One back from the goal kick from Meslier very quickly there from Liverpool. Shot was blocked, and now Leeds can break. Cooper's ball diagonal. He'll find Rafinha. Corner of the area, right hand side. Cross towards the far side, but not a great ball at all. There's Rodrigo lurking. Shouts of handball there against Harvey Elliott, not given. And Liverpool come forward here with Jota. Wants a pass. Mane and Salah make moves, but nothing particularly interesting for him. Liam Cooper has then tagged Jota on the release, and that's a free kick to Liverpool right on the edge, given away by the Leeds captain.
Again, typical to this game, what we've seen in the first 39 minutes, end to end. Again, like a basketball game, it's just not settled down at all. Leeds United they're in trouble here. They're trying to score from every opportunity that they get possession, but no kind of control. Perhaps a handball by Harvey Elliott. Missed that one, the referee, I think.
Feels a bit like Liam Cooper could be in some trouble here. They've already made the central defensive change because of the injury. On a yellow card already. Forward gone. It's untidy, that tackle. We're seeing the replay on our monitors here. I mean, we saw it yesterday with Japhet Tanganga, the game you were working in, with West Ham Southampton, Mikel Antonio on a yellow. You try the referee's patience, you give him a decision to make. That was a bit risky there.
Well, it was. I think Craig Pawson's ref this game particularly well. He's encouraged end to end. There's not a lot of breaks in play in terms of needless silly fouls, but that looked more than just. I thought it was more of a tactical foul by Liam Cooper than anything.
Which wasn't a great idea, because I'm not sure Jota, Mane and Salah knew what to do with the ball when they got there. Now there's a free kick for Alexander-Arnold.
Well, he knows what to do with the ball. Generally,
he's placed it down. He's about 7 yards away from the edge of the area. It's just left of centre. Salah's over it too, but looks like Alexander-Arnold fancies this one. 4-man wall for Leeds, then another 2-man wall for Leeds with a red Liverpool wall in between. It is Alexander-Arnold. It's hit the wall, blocked by Bamford, who then gives it a wallop into touch as well.
Well, he missed the first wall. The second wall became part of the third wall, and sadly it didn't hit the net for Trent Alexander-Arnold.
It was like the back gardens of terraced housing there, wasn't it? There's far too many walls. Poor free kick though from Alexander-Arnold. You expect better. The man who's certainly got it in his locker to find the top corner from there. Let's off for Leeds, who have got 4 minutes and change now to navigate, and I think they'll be quite happy to go in at 1-0 down, considering the half of football we've seen. Throw in for Liverpool into Sadio Mane, controlled on the thigh. He then turns infield and to find Harvey Elliott. Alexander-Arnold deflected through ball, maybe finds Jota. Meslier wouldn't allow it. Slides in and gathers around the penalty spot. Rolls out to Luke Ayling. Might have been time there just to take your time on it. I mean, it's not the Leeds way, I know. I feel like you're always critiquing Leeds when you watch them, because they do things the Bielsa way, but sometimes it does seem to go against common acceptance of what football teams do. I don't know.
No, I think you're right, Tom. There is a way of working in this Leeds United team, of course, and it stems from the manager first and foremost, but the players have to take responsibility sometimes. I think if you're a player in this Leeds United team, you've got to smell what's happening at certain times, and with 3 minutes to go before the end of the half, just to quieten this game down, it's not a bad thing for Leeds.
Bamford has it in his own half. 2 players on him. Back towards Cooper. He'll find Meslier. Chance now for Leeds to do just that. Navigate their way to the whistle. Regroup and go again. Tough second half for Liverpool if the score is just 1-0. Well, Ayling is giving it straight to Thiago here. Harvey Elliott tried to poke to Jota. Strout will clear it. Here's Jack Harrison in the centre circle. On to Rodrigo. First time left to Calvin Phillips. Paul got caught under his feet a little bit, but he has found a pass to Rodrigo, who made the diagonal run. Left-footed cross block, back to him. Here's Harrison, left-hand side. Cross comes in, away by Robertson. Dallas picks it up, forced away from goal. Keeps it going for Leeds, keeps it live for Leeds. Checked by Phillips, left to Rodrigo, out of his feet. Left-footed cross, chance for Ayling. Oh, it's his thigh and gone over the crossbar. Well, I think he thought maybe Bamford was going to head it. It wasn't going to come to him. Not a great effort from Ayling. Could have maybe stooped to head home there. What a great chance for Leeds at the end of this half.
Yeah, it was absolutely a wonderful crossing by Jack Harrison. And did it come too soon, too early for Luke Ayling? I'm not sure why he's decided to try and knee the ball with the connection. It's one of them crosses where he just didn't quite know what to do with it.
I think he was trying to thigh that in from where he was, trying to improvise, but in the end it was a poor judgment call, as was that challenge there by Pascal Struijk on Sadio Mane. 10 yards over the halfway in the Leeds half. Mane has been fouled. Ball was kind of going nowhere. No real need to do it. Liverpool now in a position of being in possession in Leeds territory with a minute to go until 45 are up. I would expect a couple of additional minutes at least from the half that we've had. We are hearing there will be 2. A chance now for Liverpool to, it seems, knock one towards the back post. Matip's gone forward here. Robertson's over it. They've got a routine in mind. Van Dijk forward too. It is towards that pair at the back post. Breaks towards Mo Salah in the area. Can't get his shot away. Challenged by Bamford, who's on his backside. Swipes the ball away under pressure. Goes out for a throw on the left for Liverpool, right for Leeds by the corner flag. Very nearly broke for Mo Salah there in the area. Just couldn't quite get it under control.
Oh, it was a good ball in by Robertson. As we on the other side, fantastic delivery normally. These have got to get in at half time here. They've just got to put this first half to bed.
They have cleared it from that throw up towards the halfway where Matip volleyed towards Alisson. The thigh of Alisson brings it under control, returns to Matip. Bamford pressing, and there is confirmation that 2 more minutes will be added on. A few seconds into the first of those now. Spoken about Leeds, but I think Liverpool might be a bit annoyed here to only be 1-0 up as we head towards the last few seconds of the half, Sean.
Well, I think Jurgen Klopp would have been furious if they'd have equalised with the chance of Luke Ayling there, because there's been one dominant team and it's not been Leeds United, it's been Liverpool. They've played really well, and I think you're right, you know, to be disappointed going in at 1-0 is testament to how well they've done this afternoon.
Throw in here for Liverpool, just over the halfway line. Trent Alexander-Arnold will take it straight to Ayling. Come over, tracking Mane. Liverpool win it back though with Sadio Mane driving now at Cooper, edge of the area, a few step overs away from Cooper, goes to ground. Caught a little elbow in the face there, I think, Sadio Mane, but he massively overrun the ball and Struijk will clear it. They just seem to be through all the time, Liverpool, don't they?
It's when it breaks into Liverpool's hands. He picks up some brilliant positions, Sadio Mane. So difficult to mark.
Throwing down the line for Liverpool. Struijk will clear it. Up in the air, not very far, into touch.
We talk about the quality of this front three, but the intelligence of this front three as well.
Robertson with the throw on the left-hand side. Into Jota. Being held by Ayling, can't get away from Ayling and Phillips. Challenged by Ayling on Elliott. Ricochets back to Illan Meslier, and that will surely be the last action of what has been a very, very entertaining first half of football. In fact, no time even for the goal kick from Meslier. Just the 1 goal in that first half, and historic one for Mo Salah, becoming the 30th player to score 100 Premier League goals, the 5th fastest player ever to achieve that milestone. That's the only goal of the game so far. Leeds had to hold on for a while, but hold on they have. Further analysis to follow. Stay with us. At half time, it's Leeds 0, Liverpool 1. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day's biggest sports stories with the Talk Sport Hit. Crammed full of the latest team news, big match previews, and discussing the day's hottest topics.
An improvement week in, week out.
Plus, get all the latest results and full fan reaction to the biggest events in world sport.
It's a wonderful goal!
Satisfy your thirst for sports news with the Talk Sport Hit. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Talk Sport. 20 years old and still not able to make a cup of tea.
That's a great starting point, I think. Excuse me.
With bitter experience comes great responsibility.
Let's go to Cumbria and Fraser. Fraser, good morning. Hello. Fraser, get out of that league.
The nation's first and best commercial sports radio station.
Live, lubricated and legendary.
20 years of Talk Sport.
Previously on White and Jordan.
This is rewarding mediocrity. No, it's not. It's the exact opposite.
Two towering giants of sports media.
He's got COVID-19. He's got Newcastle wanting to sue him. He's got broadcasters pulling money out of deals left, right and centre. You wouldn't want to fly with this guy, would you?
Jim White and Simon Jordan.
Double trouble, daily drama and searing debate.
Continues weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, Titanium Plasmatronic Death Droids from the Future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
Previously on White and Jordan.
If you haven't bought, owned, managed, sold a player, managed a football club, sat in a boardroom, sat in a dressing room, what exactly do you know?
100% engagement.
The Football League is a league which is a busted flush. You're obsessed with that subject, you do know that.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. High Octane Radio. Continues weekday mornings from 10 on Talk Sport.
The Women's Football Weekly Podcast.
With Faye Carruthers. All the action, excitement and drama from across the entire women's game.
Cleared off the line by Steph Horton.
Including the Women's Super League.
Ellen White is there to tap it in.
The UEFA Women's Champions League.
Lana Cleland striking from outside the penalty area.
And the Euro 2021 qualifiers.
On the edge of the area to Emsley, and Emsley's going to finish it off.
Plus, all the home nations international friendlies.
Lucy Bronze with the strike from the edge of the penalty area.
World-beating big match conversation.
There's Jodie Taylor.
Subscribe now to the Women's Football Weekly Podcast on Acast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to Premier League Live. Just the one game on this Sunday in the Premier League. It comes from Ellen Road, where Leeds United are up against Liverpool. And just like last season, an incredibly entertaining end-to-end game. At the break, it's the Reds who lead. Phillips brings the ball away for Leeds. Looks cross-field early, beautifully into the path of Rafinha, who's in the area, cuts it back, chance for Leeds! Drive at goal by Rodrigo, straight at Allison. Liverpool scrambling away. Leeds come again, Rafinha right-hand side. Oh, he scuffs the cross, and Thiago is able to poke away.
What a chance for Leeds United.
Salah's cross to Jota! Oh, fantastic play from Jota. Brings it down the chest, volleys it goal. Meslier is equal to it.
Brilliant combination play there. Wonderful ball into the box.
Joel Matip steps out, carries forward, finds Salah, return ball. Joel Matip, edge of the area, pass right. Alexander-Arnold, low ball, Mo Salah, 1-0, and that's 100 goals in the Premier League for Mo Salah. It's a brilliant Liverpool move. It's brilliant Liverpool interplay.
We've been questioning the quality coming into the box by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not here, Tom. This was a wonderful ball into the box.
Well, it could be 2-0. Oh, Mane over the top, open goal. Jota down the right side, got goal side, got to the end line, cut it back. Mane's got to score. Mane doesn't score.
Well, he's got a smile on his face, Sadio Mane, but he'll be grimacing to that.
Into Salah on the edge. Mo Salah. Here's Robertson. Left hand side. Return ball. Blocked by Cooper. Harvey Elliott again. Another shot. Blocked by Meslier. goes for a corner on the far side, and Leeds are holding on to this game by the fingernails right now.
Well, Ilan Mellier's just kept his team in it. I mean, that's a wonderful save, but this second goal's got to be coming soon.
Chipped by Phillips, left to Rodrigo, out of his feet, left-footed cross, chance for Ayling. Oh, it's his thigh and gone over the crossbar. Well, I think he thought maybe Bamford was going to head it. It wasn't going to come to him. Not a great effort from Ayling. Could have maybe stooped to head home there. What a great chance for Leeds at the end of this half. As last year when these two met in the Premier League, thoroughly enjoyable from a neutral perspective. Sean Derry watching the game alongside me. We spent a lot of time analysing Leeds because they've just been struggling to cope with Liverpool. But let's talk a bit about Liverpool because, I mean, they have played exceptionally well here. Only 1-0, could be a few more.
Absolutely right. I mean, it's a brilliant game. First 45 minutes is everything we hoped and expected it would be. I just think that this Liverpool team have got such control in the back four. I've just put a little note here. Joel Matip, you know, people look at Joel Matip and he'll always be the understudy, won't he, when you've got people like Virgil van Dijk right next to him. But he's controlling this back four in possession, and that's been the biggest problem for this Leeds United team because they press so high, and if you break that first press, you're in trouble, and Leeds are in trouble this afternoon.
I mean, Leeds did well, you've got to say, to hold on in this game because when the goal was conceded, Mo Salah scored it. There was 10 minutes there. Mane had a chance, but it felt like it was coming. You mentioned it there in the highlights. It didn't come. What do Leeds do in this second period? Are they going to be able to get the ball, get on the front foot? How do they get something in this game from this point?
I don't think they're going to control possession against Liverpool. Liverpool are too good for that. And of course, they're always going to be in the game because of the way that they play, and they take their transition into trying to score as quickly as possible. And with that, breeds real poor decision making, and the big decision maker for me is Calvin Phillips, because if he's not in central in this pitch, then Leeds are wide open, Tom. And I'm just thinking, are they going to have a discussion at half time? Are they going to bring somebody on just to sit next to Calvin Phillips? Who knows? We haven't seen that too often, have we, by Marcelo Bielsa?
And a word on Mo Salah, who scored the goal. I mentioned it right at the top. Look out for it today. You feel like it's going to happen. It did happen. 100 goals in the Premier League, 98 of them for Liverpool, 2 for Chelsea in his brief period there as well. The 5th fastest player ever to achieve that milestone. Only Alan Shearer, Harry Kane, Sergio Aguero and Thierry Henry did it faster. Is he a player that belongs in the same conversation with those players?
Well, he has to, of course. You know, there's some names there that you've just said to the listeners there. But for me, Mo Salah is just an out-and-out goal scorer. I mean, he spends large periods of the first half, we've just seen it, out of the game, and then straight away he's the biggest threat all the time. And his finish was everything that we expected to be.
Second half coming up shortly in this one. Fantastic fare so far. 1-0 to Liverpool at the break. We are not done this weekend with this game. There's one further game tomorrow, so make sure you are with us for Everton up against Burnley. Kevin Hatchard and Michael Kitely, your commentary team, tomorrow 7:30 local time, UK time. That one gets underway for an 8 o'clock kickoff, so make sure you are with us. And of course we are back with you with Premier League Live next weekend. When we come back, second half commentary of Leeds against Liverpool. It's the Reds who are 1-0 up at half time. Make sure you don't miss this second half. It's going to be fantastic. Stay with us. You're listening to Premier League Live.
From the terraces to the touchline, if you're the ultimate football fan, you need to subscribe to the Game Day podcast from Talk Sport.
Oh yes! He's done it again!
It's the twice-weekly Premier League roundup that brings you big-name guests, in-depth previews and tough-tackling analysis from the world's biggest football league.
Oh, what a finish! He's beaten the keeper to it!
Feel the might of the top flight. Subscribe now to the Game Day podcast. Available on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get bowled over with Following On, the fast-paced cricket podcast from Talk Sport that'll hit you for 6. It's a pitch-perfect delivery of first-class cricket news.
And that's a beautiful straight drive.
Boasting an impressive strike rate of exclusive big-name guests.
Oh, you little ripper!
and fielding fierce fan reaction.
Oh, that might be out.
Don't get caught out. Subscribe now to the Following On podcast, available on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
They faced bitter prejudice.
What they had to endure was horrific.
They battled injustice.
Basically, they threw the rule book away.
But their talent was inextinguishable, and they rose to become sporting icons that etched their legacy on the history of English football.
What a strike! What a finish!
Coming in from the Cold is an exclusive 6-part documentary that chronicles the struggles and the triumphs of black footballers in the English game. Join Jessica Crichton as she uncovers the untold stories and hears firsthand from a host of superstar names, including John Barnes, Viv Anderson, Luther Blissett, Andy Cole, Rachel Yankee, John Fashanu, and many more.
These guys went through it all, and they are true inspiration.
Coming in from the Cold, the history of black footballers in the English game. Listen to the full series now, available on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Tom Rennie here to tell you about a new soccer podcast called Week in the Tackle with me and Brian Dunseth.
That's right, Tom. Well, join us for new episodes every Monday as we argue about all the top soccer stories we think are worth tackling.
Plus, we'll welcome the occasional guest to join in on the debate.
Strong opinions, big stories, no agenda.
Week in the Tackle, available on Mondays from wherever you get your podcasts.
If it's a big story in soccer, we'll tackle it.
Got an unquenchable thirst for sport? Get up to speed with the day's biggest sports stories with the Talk Sport Hit. Crammed full of the latest team news, big match previews, and discussing the day's hottest topics.
An improvement week in, week out.
Plus, get all the latest results and full fan reaction to the biggest events in world sport.
It's a wonderful goal!
Satisfy your thirst for sports news with the Talk Sport Hit. Subscribe now on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Leeds United against Liverpool from Ellen Road. I'm Tom Rennie. Sean Derry is with me, former Leeds United midfielder. This is a Premier League Live. It's 1-0 to Liverpool at half-time. Mo Salah with the goal on 20 minutes. We are just awaiting the two teams' arrival for the start of this second period. Both managers, it seems, having plenty to say to their players at half-time. For Leeds United, Sean, in the second period, they've got to find a way to score a goal. They've got to find a way to spend some time in the Liverpool half. They have shown they can get through, but would you have the confidence, the faith, if the chance fell again to Rodrigo, fell to Bamford, fell to Rafinha, they could take that chance?
Well, they had the chances early in the game, didn't they? Of course, Luke Ayling had that late chance just before half-time, but the big chance earlier on in the game fell to Rodrigo, and you've got to take them against the big teams. However, what we do know is they'll always take the game to the opposition in possession. With that, again, goes back to what we were speaking about in the first half. It leads to big gaps in the midfield. I'd be amazed if there's not a substitution for Leeds United at half-time. It really would amaze me, because to leave Calvin Phillips on his own is a big gamble.
Yeah, we are just waiting for confirmation of any substitutions as we are watching Konstantinos Tsimikas and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain out warming up for this second period, so they're unlikely to be coming on right now. No Leeds players out there currently, so maybe some changes. I wonder how fit Matthias Klick is. If he's fit enough, I would imagine that he might be introduced relatively soon. Interesting yesterday, I was watching the highlights back of some of the games from yesterday in the Premier League this morning, and both Thomas Frank of Brentford and Xisco Munoz of Watford both said the difference between the Championship and the Premier League is what happens in the boxes. When you get the chance, you simply have to take it. Sean, you've got experience of playing at the second tier and the top tier as well, coaching in both as well. How accurate is that it's the boxes that makes the difference between those two divisions?
Well, absolutely. I mean, they've nailed the Premier League there in one sentence. Of course, the bigger chances that you get. You know, if you're a big team, you get more of them. If you're a smaller team, you get less of them. But these teams coming into the Premier League, the new ones coming from the Championship, they'll recognise that straight away.
Just looking at Leeds emerging from the tunnel here, it looks like Tyler Roberts is stripped off and ready to come on. We can't confirm that for you as yet, but he's gone out and taken the warm-up with the rest of the team, so it looks like that will be one change that Leeds are making. That might be frustrating for Leeds fans who might have wanted Matthias Klick. Again, we don't know how fit he is, and maybe Daniel James just brought in from Manchester United as well. I'll confirm that for you shortly. We're just waiting for official confirmation on that. I'll give you the Liverpool team briefly now whilst we're waiting. Alisson is in goal for them. Back four, left to right of Andrew Robertson, Virgil van Dijk, Joel Matip and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Midfield is Harvey Elliott, Fabinho and Thiago Alcantara. The front three is Mo Salah, Diogo Jota and Sadio Mane. Liverpool's bench is Quiban Kelleher, Ibrahima Konate, the centre-half, James Milner, once of Leeds, Naby Keita, Joe Gomez, Jordan Henderson, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Curtis Jones and Konstantinos Tsimikas. A confirmation then that Tyler Roberts has come on. Rodrigo is the man who has been withdrawn, so that's the second change that they have been able to make today. Sean, what do you make to that?
Yeah, I mean, we said, didn't we, we'd be surprised if there wasn't a substitution at half time. Tyler Roberts gives you a little bit more defensive nous, but again, the big thing for me is how fit is Mateusz Klich, because if he was fit, you bring him on.
So Leeds have Ilan Meslier in goal, back four of Junior Firpo, Liam Cooper, Pascal Struijk and Luke Ayling, Calvin Phillips, Tyler Roberts and Stuart Dallas. The midfield three with Rafinha and Jack Harrison supporting Patrick Bamford up front. The bench, only one change left for them. In fact, I'll come back to that momentarily as Patrick Bamford is released down the right hand side here. Robertson and Van Dijk holding him up by the end line, right hand side, poked in towards Roberts. Rafinha wants it, as does Ayling. Ayling takes it onto Rafinha by the corner flag up against Sadio Mane. Ayling first time, right footed, cross comes in, too close though to Alisson, who makes the catch. At the Leeds bench, the goalkeeper Christopher Claassen, Dan James, Charlie Cresswell, Crescencio Somerville, Mateusz Klich, Liam McCarran and Jamie Shackleton. Craig Pawson, our referee. Fourth official Darren England. Not much for him to do so far, thankfully. Leeds United, white shirts, white shorts, white socks with yellow trim on the shirts and navy lettering and numbering on the back. They kick from right to left as we're looking in this second period. Liverpool the other way, left to right, red shirts, red shorts, red socks with white numbering and lettering on the back, and there's a weird orange colour as the trim on the kit this season. Not a classic from Liverpool, I think that's fair to say. As Mo Salah is fouled here multiple times by Junior Firpo, wins a free kick just inside his own half.
Yeah, looking at these substitutions for Leeds, of course one was forced with Diego Llorente coming off at half time, and perhaps two substitutions this early in the game. I'm guessing, Bielsa wouldn't really have wanted that, but it's just been one of them games where they've just been exposed at certain moments.
47 minutes gone. Liverpool in their own half with the ball under the control of Trent Alexander-Arnold. Tries it down the right hand side, in fact tries it off the field down the right hand side. It's a throw in for Leeds, which they take to Tyler Roberts, who is unable to control under pressure from Harvey Elliott. Down the line to Sadio Mane. Liam Cooper wins it back. He just had the left arm up a bit there, and it caught Mo Salah in the face, who certainly, I think, considered hitting the deck there, but thought better of it. But again, it's another example where Cooper's got to be careful here on a yellow card, and I would suggest with that challenge at the end of the first half, probably quite lucky not to have got the second yellow. As we alluded to earlier, for those that missed it, Diego Llorente already withdrawn through injury. Pascal Struijk on as the third centre-half at the club to replace him. Here he is now, Struijk, cross field, poor pass, intercepted by Robertson, just inside their own half here, Liverpool. Fabinho over the top, searching for Salah, intercepted by Cooper. Calvin Phillips with a poke to Harrison. Return ball, first time to Calvin Phillips, who looks up. Another return, right to left, onto Harrison. Left-footed crosses early, good ball! Off the top of the head of Bamford. Couldn't turn it towards goal. Recovered by Roberts, right-hand side. 48 minutes gone, 1-0 Liverpool. Tyler Roberts with it, left-footed cross, blocked by Fabinho. Covered by Jota of Liverpool, who heads on to Mane, and the Reds can break away. Sadio Mane on to Jota, return to him. Sadio Mane through on goal. Sadio Mane misses his shot. Mo Salah open goal, doesn't score because of a brilliant challenge from Pascal Struijk.
Well, I can't believe how they've not scored the second goal here, Liverpool. Brilliant breakaway once again. I'm not too sure if Sadio Mane's decided to pass that across the 6-yard box.
Well, I'll tell you what, Liverpool are complaining here, they should have a penalty. It was a challenge from Junior Firpo on Sadio Mane, and that maybe is why the connection was so poor from Mane, that challenge. He's complaining. Salah then should turn the ball into the empty net. It's a great challenge from Struijk, but I think Salah will be a bit annoyed with himself not to have just ran onto that with some conviction.
Yeah, absolutely. Just took too much time deliberating whether to pick his corner. Klopp can't believe it. Look at him.
Well, we have just had the notification, no foul, no penalty. Was run up the flagpole to the point we have had official confirmation of that. Craig Pawson now telling everyone we're getting back on with it, watch the ball. Corner right hand side for Liverpool, their 5th corner of the match, first of the second half. Alexander-Arnold, right footed, deep ball, Van Dijk's header, Fabinho, can he turn it home? He can turn it home. A second goal for Liverpool that's been coming for a long, long time. No one thought Fabinho would get it, but he has. It's 2-0.
Well, it's that delivery into the box once again. Trent Alexander-Arnold right on the money. The big man Van Dijk wins his first connection inside the box, which is always a danger, and it proved to be this afternoon. Second goal for Liverpool, and well deserved. Terrible start to the second half by Leeds.
A couple of our listeners got in touch at half time to suggest that maybe Liam Cooper should be taken off at half time. Having a poor game out there, the Leeds captain. The second time, I know it's difficult to mark Virgil van Dijk, Sean, but the second time he's completely lost him in the penalty area for a corner. Virgil van Dijk unchallenged. We are being told this goal is being checked for a possible offside. Sadio Mane, I mean, I don't see how it could be offside. It looks like Rafinha is on the goal line, not behind the line, as we're seeing the replay here. This is going to be given, I'm pretty sure. What do you make to this replay we're seeing here?
Yeah, I'm not too sure on what I'm watching here. It doesn't look like Sadio Mane's at any point interfering with Ilya Meslier there. It's got to be given.
Yeah, I mean, if Rafinha is behind the line, he's not interfering with play, he's not considered active. And Mane would have been offside if he was in the line of the shot, but he's to Melier's left by about 2 yards. I mean, it's not going to be offside here, surely.
No, and the goal looks to be given, surely.
Decision is goal. No offence, Sadio Mane. And that is 2-0 to Liverpool, and I think that may well be all she wrote with just 6 minutes gone in the second half.
And the disappointing thing from Leeds United's perspective is, if you're going to concede goals against top teams, concede good ones. I mean, that's just a routine ball into the box where, I mean, the space that Van Dijk had, it's incredible, really. We know how powerful he is inside the 18-yard box.
Van Dijk on the edge of his own area here, under pressure from Rafinha, but couldn't bundle Van Dijk off the ball there, Rafinha. Thiago then gets away from Dallas, the man-to-man marking play of Leeds, and Liverpool have just moved the ball past their individual matchups all game long. Harvey Elliott pokes to Salah, Cooper intercepts and knocks into touch. He is having a really tough day out there, Liam Cooper. He knows it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And with him being the leader of the team out there, he's not helped, is he?
Here is Jota away from Cooper, running right to left. Cooper's tackle, Jota keeps it onto Sadio Mane. They just need to keep their heads here. They're 2-0 down. There comes a point where you might be considering the respectability of the scoreline if another goes in. Rafinha over the top here towards Patrick Bamford, up against Van Dijk. Van Dijk's gone down here. No free kick's been given. And he nearly got in there, Bamford. Alisson got the ball away. I don't think Pawson gave anything there as the ball was cleared into touch, and he shouldn't have given anything.
No, I don't think so. I'm not too sure there's not enough there, is there, for somebody of the stature of Virgil van Dijk to hit the floor as easy as that. He's had a little pull on the ponytail, I think, there, hasn't he?
Don't touch the ponytail. That's a rule for life. I'm not brave enough to do it. Bamford is. Didn't get away with it that time. In fact, the free kick has been given. I thought it was just going to be the throw. I think Robertson thought it was going to be the throw as well, but free kick awarded. Van Dijk clips it upfield, won by Luke Ayling. Bun to bun. Ball goes into touch.
The big problem for Leeds is if they do lose, and they lose heavy, similar to Manchester United, the effects that has into the next game, it does affect you as a player. There's no doubt. The lead into the next game seems to be longer, seems to be more pressured.
Not too long to wait for Leeds for their next match. They're up against Newcastle United on Friday, before a Carabao Cup game against Fulham, then here against West Ham, and then Watford. So not the easiest of games, but certainly points to be picked up by Leeds in those matchups. Today they've really got to up their game to get back in it, but there's a long way to go. We don't believe in the probability percentages here on Premier League Live. Anything can happen. Here is Liam Cooper, centre circle with a clip centre to left. Brought down by Harrison. Lovely touch. Into Dallas. Beautiful turn. In the area, left-hand side, low cross. Van Dijk can't get it away. Roberts heads towards goal, but he couldn't put any power behind it. And it's cushioned back to the Liverpool keeper, Alisson.
Yeah, good play there by Stuart Dallas. Brilliant little turn inside the 18-yard box. And I think the Leeds United players were just stood there waiting for something.
That's the best they've come up with in this second period, Leeds. And that was Virgil van Dijk looking flustered for a couple of seconds there. It would have been his mistake that led to the goal if Roberts could have headed better. Tough header for Tyler Roberts, but still it wasn't a good one nonetheless. 10 minutes go in the second period.
Can Leeds get this goal? Can they get themselves back into the game? There's still a lot of minutes to play in the second half.
Ailing down the line, blocked by the challenge of Jota. Throw into Leeds over on that far side. The Liverpool fans you can hear cheering most loudly inside Ellen Road right now. Leeds fans so boisterous in the build-up have been quiet for a little while. Need something from their team to lift them. The goal would lift the roof off this place as Tyler Roberts tries to make that happen. It's on to Harrison, left-hand side, in the area, into Tyler Roberts, whose shot is a long way wide from around the penalty spot. Just got it out of his feet nicely. It's all falling to Tyler Roberts. It's a good sub from Bielsa in terms of Roberts getting into the game, but he's not executing when it comes to him.
And a lot of this plays fall into Jack Harrison down this left-hand side. He seems to have Trent Alexander-Arnold on his back foot, and it was a great opportunity for Tyler Roberts. It opened up, but the execution right at the end let him down. But Leeds are probing. They won't give up. They'll always play this certain type of football that gives them the opportunity to score goals.
Just the one goal in his Premier League career, Tyler Roberts. That was against Southampton back in May of last season. Should have doubled his tally there with one of those two chances. Leeds now with the ball in the penalty area. Just had that percentage thing we're getting given now by the new partners of the Premier League. Leeds apparently have a 1% chance of winning, so they say, the stats men. So we might as well shoot off, mate. We missed the trains,
It's incredible, that, isn't it?
Doesn't make sense. It's so dumb. It's just so dumb. I don't get what it is. It's people who discovered football at university. It does my head in. Just watch the game, lads. There's every chance Leeds could get back in this game. It's unlikely, but a 1% chance. Put your calculator down. Watch the game.
Dumb and dumber chance, isn't it? Got to watch the film, guys.
Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? No, we won't do that. We won't do that. We're not going to do it. Just watch the film. Come back to us next week. Ball with Alisson in goal for Liverpool as they look to prepare a change here. We can see Jordan Henderson getting his shirt on, ready to be entered into the fray. Maybe just needing a bit more control of the game here as they give it away in their own area. Liverpool, good pressing from Leeds United. Harrison can't quite get hold of it in the area. Good breakaway by Elliott. Strout slams the door closed, and Harvey Elliott's got a problem here. Yeah, it's a real problem. It's a real problem for Harvey Elliott with that challenge. Mo Salah was screaming at the physios to come on. There was not even acceptance from the referee. They had to come on there. They just came on. They're seeing the injury a couple of yards away. No free kick given by Craig Pawson, who went in with the tackle.
Oh, it looks to be an awful injury, unfortunately, for the young lad. It's horrible to see these types of injuries on a football pitch, Tom.
Well, Strauch slid in, and he's won the ball and taken the ball away. Harvey Elliott, though, has stayed down. It looks like he's maybe been caught by a follow-through. We often don't get replays of these, so I couldn't give you more information at the moment about what the challenge is. Harvey Elliott has stayed down. Mo Salah very concerned. Naby Keita is up. Jurgen Klopp is up. The entire Liverpool staff are up on the edge of the technical area. Klopp very unhappy with the officiating, it would seem. The challenge from Strauch as well. Look, it seemed like it was a fair challenge to me from what I saw first time round. Strauch slid in, took the ball away, and it could just be one of those collisions that can happen in football, unfortunately. What was your take on the challenge? Bad tackle, do you think?
Well, in free play, you know, the view that we've got, it looked to be an honest challenge. but you never know until you see it from that second and third chance. I mean, all I know is the reaction of the players on the pitch suggests this is a real horrible injury for young Harvey Elliott, and we don't like to see this at any point.
Oh, there's a red card. It is a red card. The referee has just sent off Pascal Strauch, I think, here. There's a melee of players around the referee. I didn't think he even gave a free kick first time. I must confess, I didn't hear the whistle in the melee of it all. But I think Strauch has just been sent off, and I can tell you the medical staff are actually cutting off the boot of Harvey Elliott right now. It's clearly a bad injury here. Now again, I would need a replay of it. On first viewing, I don't know how bad it was. I may be completely wrong, but Pascal Strauch has been sent off. That has now been confirmed.
Yeah, and this is why when you go out onto that football field as a footballer, you can never take anything for granted. And unfortunately for this young player, he's going to be spending many months, I'm sure, in a dark place, trying to get himself back to full fitness. And it's just horrible, Tom, it really is. And these are the parts of the game where it just upsets me greatly as an ex-player, because I know that when you go out onto that field with such an honesty in your game and things like this happen, it upsets me, I've got to say. And I'm looking at these images now, and there's a lot of images that we're seeing from these players, and not good.
Yeah, we're getting close-ups on a few of the players' faces on our TV monitors here. Pascal Strauch has been sent off, but remains on the field of play for the moment. A couple of Leeds players is having a word with him. Jurgen Klopp staring daggers at Pascal Strauch, who's yet to leave the field, just about walking off now. Virgil van Dijk now having a word with the Leeds central defender who has been sent off.
Well, Jurgen Klopp had an incredible view. I mean, it happened right in front of the dugouts, and instantly he was off his feet, and was on his feet, and he was remonstrating with the referee Craig Pawson, and got the red card out pretty quickly, didn't he?
He certainly did. I'm sure he consulted with the video assistant referee. Strauch is now walking away towards the tunnel. I mean, look, it's a poor challenge, but if it's a poor challenge and the man's been sent off and there's an injury, I mean, what else can anyone involved in the officiating of this situation do? He has been sent off. I'm not sure what else Jurgen Klopp can really be saying to the fourth official down there. It's sad to see someone injured, but that's the protocols in place. What else can you do? What else is the fourth official Andrew Hadley going to do? He's receiving an earful from Jurgen Klopp right now.
Absolutely, and the thoughts only have to go into one direction, and that's with the player down, unfortunately, on the pitch. And Jurgen Klopp, of course, he'll be unbelievably devastated for his player.
And again, for our listeners, we have replays and we get monitors here, but they aren't showing them to us, so we have not seen the incident for a second time, so we can only go off what we saw first time in match play, and it didn't look like the worst challenge on first viewing, but obviously it's a poor challenge in terms of the injury that Harvey Elliott has picked up here, but I can't give you more information. We can't give you further analysis, unfortunately, at this time.
No, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, the Leeds United fans are all, of course, clapping Harvey Elliott. He'll have a long recovery, I suggest. It didn't look a good one, but he will recover. The medical professionals inside football clubs now are incredibly talented themselves, and he'll get them back on this football pitch.
Now, people are, again, getting in touch with us who've seen more replays than we have at this moment, and they have said it's a challenge that is not a red card challenge. It looks like Harvey Elliott's foot's got caught in the grass, and that's what's led to the injury as opposed to the force of the challenge. That's what people on @TalkSport Live on Twitter have been saying. I couldn't, again, give you more information on that because of the way the pictures that we get on replays work, but anyway, he has been sent off, Strauch, and Harvey Elliott has been stretchered off, and we can only hope that it's not as bad as it seems like it is. We are back underway. The game is still going on. There's still plenty of game to be played. Liverpool made a change. It was Jordan Henderson who was already stripped off and ready to come on. I think we're probably going to come on for Harvey Elliott as well, which just adds a layer to it. He is off and Henderson's on.
Well, these are vastly experienced players. I mean, unfortunately, it's happened to the youngest player on the pitch, and all Liverpool players can do now is, of course, play for themselves, but play for him.
Chance here for Liverpool to add a third. It feels a touch inconsequential now. I would love to see a replay. I wonder if we can try and sort a replay out of that incident. I understand why we don't get them on our broadcast replays, but I mean, we're trying to tell you what happened. I can't quite tell you exactly what did happen, but I know that our listeners have seen a few replays out there, and there's mixed emotions on whether it's a red card. And there has to be a brutality to the challenge, a recklessness to the challenge for it to have been a red card. You can accidentally injure somebody, and it's not a red card incident. The word brutality comes into it when it's violent contact, dangerous play. It didn't seem like a challenge with overdue force from, again, the initial viewing that we had. Anyway, Leeds coming forward left-hand side here. Jordan Henderson on for Elliott has committed a foul on Junior Firpo. Free kick Leeds on the left-hand side.
Can they get this goal back? Can they? They're obviously a man down now. It's a big hill to try and cross, to try and get over, but might come from a set play.
Free kick on the left-hand side to be whipped in by Rafinha. Good delivery. It's a chance at the back post for Bamford. Again, it bounced up to his face and he couldn't turn that ball home. It's over the top for a goal kick.
I'm just trying to get a view on the tackle myself. We just spoke about it. Can we get an image? And it looks like it's the trailing leg of Pascal Struijk. I don't think it was as malicious as it was suggested by Jurgen Klopp. It's a reaction from the manager. Of course, you go into a mode of trying to protect your players, but the images I've seen, Tom, I really don't think there was any kind of malice in that tackle. It's just unfortunate.
But is it reckless? Is there a brutality to the challenge?
No, I think there was an honesty, Tom. I think there was an honesty to try and win the ball back, and unfortunately the game's played at such a degree of intensity that the millimetre of being out of control, I wouldn't say it was malicious, no.
Well, we will see. We will see. There has been a red card, and I just hope that it doesn't look as bad for Harvey Elliott as it seemed to on first viewing. Could well be a snap bone in there for him, but I won't speculate too much. As Liverpool come forward, left-hand side, Robertson in line, cross is blocked by the retreating Rafinha. Corner for Liverpool, who are winning 2-0 for those that have forgotten there is a game going on.
And what a game we were watching as well. It was a fantastic game, obviously led by Liverpool, led by the 2 goals, but massively contributed by this way of, well, we're going to see another player in Dan James coming on. Can he make something happen for Leeds?
Well, might as well go for it now as this corner comes in. It's away by Meslier, who's been caught late by Van Dijk as he tried to turn that header in. Meslier has gone down. Referee's given the free kick. We are going to see a change here for Leeds. The final change they are able to make, and Jack Harrison, who's certainly been a threat in the second half, has withdrawn. And Dan James will make his debut following his transfer deadline day move from Manchester United. Did it make sense, the transfer to Leeds for Dan James?
Yeah, only in the sense that they tried to get him before he went to Manchester United when he left Swansea. And of course he didn't get it over the line because of the paperwork. It was so late, but he does fit the bill. He fits the mode and the profile of a Leeds United wide player for sure.
Bielsa's obviously wanted him. The club have tracked him, and now they've got him. He's on the field of play for 10-man Leeds with 22 minutes and change remaining. Plenty of change as well following the injury to Harvey Elliott.
I thought Jack Harrison played well. He contributed to this game. He puts his crosses into the box. He takes his opponent to the touchline. He's probably feels slightly unfortunate that he's come off.
There's Jordan Henderson on the halfway for Liverpool. Back to Joel Matip. Feels like a very different game now from the 2 or 3 minutes of match play ago. Matip forward to the right hand side, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Jordan Henderson running the captain's armband now. Matip into Thiago, left to Virgil van Dijk. Matip forward. Here's Fabinho, who scored the second. Salah with the first in the first half. 2-0 to Liverpool with 69 minutes on the clock. Calvin Phillips away from Robertson. He's down the right hand side here. He's got runners ahead of him. Cross comes in early. Fabinho heads it up in the air. Alisson came and didn't get it. James recovers over on the left hand side for Leeds United. Into Bamford. Tries a return. Too heavy. Firpo gets there. Challenge Alexander-Arnold. Looks like it came off a Leeds leg last. It did. And that's a goal kick for Liverpool.
Yeah, it came from an opportunity down this left-hand side once again with Dan James. Just seen the cross there by Calvin Phillips. Not the worst of crosses. Not so sure where Alisson's going.
Well, he's never going to be delayed in coming off his line, Alisson. That's what he does. That's what the modern keepers do. You saw Ederson do it a fair amount yesterday. You saw it a lot from Edouard Mendy as well in the Chelsea game. The top keepers all do it, and they all do it well. That time, no communication between he and Fabinho. Nearly led to a Leeds goal. Here's Joel Matip on the halfway line for Liverpool, who have almost gone into cruise control now. I think they'll be happy to take the points from this situation and get out of here. As the ball is played down the left-hand side to Robertson, who doesn't chase that down with all of his might. Play for a goal kick.
Yeah, you're right. I think this Leeds team of course, they've contributed to the game, but looks like a real tough 20 minutes to try and get back into it. Now, you're right, Tom. I mean, when things like this happen, when horrible injuries take place, it can kill the game, and that's what's happened. It's not played with the intensities of that first 60 minutes, is it?
Here's Calvin Phillips trying to bring the intensity back for Leeds. In his own half, though, Bamford's come a long way deep to get involved in the game. Onto Ayling over on the right-hand side, who is filling in at centre-half now. Diagonal ball towards James, intercepted by Alexander-Arnold. Into touch for a throw to Leeds on the left-hand side. Still plenty of debate going on at TalkSport Live whether it should have been a red card or not. And there's a foul here by Fabinho, which the Leeds fans are greeting as if they've been hard done by today by the referee.
I mean, the tackle itself will, of course, it will split opinion. It's one of them tackles, it wasn't clear cut, but the more you see it, in my opinion, it definitely didn't have that nastiness to it. Very unfortunate.
Free kick here for Leeds, left hand side. Rafinha over it, left footed, spinning delivery, good delivery. It's away by Van Dijk before Bamford could turn it home. Mane leads the ball away. Liam Cooper with a Strout-esque challenge over on the far side to win it back for Leeds. Tyler Roberts, right hand side, away from Fabinho, goes to ground, doesn't get a free kick. May have been a penalty if it was given. It's almost on the line. Nothing given by the referee. Jota will lead Liverpool's counter-attack, blocked by Dallas, and that gets the Leeds fans back to their feet again.
Well, they're the kind of fouls that were given last year. A little bit of contact on the edge of the box, and Tyler Roberts hit the deck. I don't think it was a foul. We're just looking at that replay. Very similar tackle.
Yeah.
Very similar tackle by Cooper.
Chance here for Alexander-Arnold, right-hand side in the penalty area for Liverpool. Cuts inside, shoots a goal. It's on target, but didn't quite get the meat on the effort. And it's saved by Meslier with relative ease. And it's interesting that Leeds have almost become more offensive and more filled with desire to get back in this game since they've gone down to 10 men than they were when it was 2-0 with 11. Here's Ayling now, midway inside his own half. Back to Meslier. In towards Calvin Phillips, midway inside his own half here for Leeds United. Diagonal ball right to left, too heavy for James. How tough is it to navigate for Liverpool at this point, and what would you advise they do over the next 17 minutes?
Well, I mean, they brought on, of course, the captain, Jordan Henderson, and he's slightly different to Harvey Elliott, isn't he? Harvey Elliott's one of them players who gets in little pockets, looks to play forward, and he was playing well. A different type of challenge now for Liverpool. You mentioned it. Get the job done and get out of there. Use all the experience on the pitch, and that's why they're such a good team.
Here's Jordan Henderson using that experience of finding a release left to Robertson, who carries into Leeds territory and then passes straight to Calvin Phillips, who is then fouled by Jordan Henderson, the man he's essentially been replaced by in the England team, Calvin Phillips. Leeds take the free kick quickly, playing with a sense of freedom now all of a sudden. Dan James into Junior Firpo, edge of the area, tries a return ball, poor pass. Leeds have committed and Liverpool can break. They've got a 3-on-2 if they work it here. Mo Salah, pass on to Mane, pass into Mane, here's Sadio Mane, blocked by Ayling's dive. Salah can't get the rebound, Meslier picks it up and Leeds want a break.
What a pass by Sadio, that was from Mo Salah. Sadio Mane there, he's touched him right down.
Ayling over the top, Rafinha's picked it up, is he onside? The flag has stayed down, Rafinha cuts it back to Bamford! Oh, he can't turn it home, and Alisson's got there. Bamford tried to swing at the loose ball, but Alisson had it, and he can't turn it home anyway. May have been offside, we're seeing the replay here, they play on. Scored the goal and asked questions later, Leeds did not.
Do you know what, I think he was onside. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold played him onside there. Big chance for Leeds.
Here come Liverpool looking for a third. Salah in the area. Salah with the curling effort, but he got underneath it and it's off target, and all of a sudden both teams want to score again.
Well, I tell you what we have seen this afternoon, and that's been some woeful finishing. I mean, what an opportunity this is for Liverpool to score the third goal. Brilliant ball there by Mo Salah. First touch was poor, second touch was probably worse for Sadio Mane.
20 attempts now at goal from Liverpool in this match. 6 of them have been on target. The rest have been off or blocked. Several now have been off target. It's been given as a corner, that, by the way. The effort from Salah. Deflection off the defender, said the referee. I didn't quite see that myself as the ball is whipped in. Still in the penalty area. Hits a couple of heads on its way out to this near side where Jota and Calvin Phillips are battling for the ball. Jota was favourite and Jota has won it. Fabinho has turned and he's down the right hand side and he crosses. That's Mellier's and he wants to get them moving quickly here. Meslier. Too many players who come back to defend the corner, and now they have to regroup here. Leeds 77 minutes gone. It's 10-man Leeds 0. It's Liverpool 2. Goal would change so much. And Leeds scoring. They've had some half chances in this second period. 8 shots in the game for them. All over the top here towards Rafinha. You feel it's probably a Liverpool mistake that will let them in.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it will be that situation, that scenario will get Leeds back into this game. I'm sure it's going to win 2-0. I mean, the chances seem to be coming pretty frequently now, Tom.
Ball with Virgil van Dijk on the edge of his own area, left hand side into Joel Matip. Matip forward up towards the halfway line, exploiting the space. No one's come to him. Leaves it for Mane. Mane to Henderson. Henderson will back towards the halfway line and Alexander-Arnold forward to Matip, who's still in midfield. Wants a forward pass here, Joel Matip. Pokes it to Jota in the end. Jota trying to find the space to shoot, can't do so. One back by Tyler Roberts, but not for very long. Has run it back again from Henderson. Here's Calvin Phillips. 4 players around him, pokes it left in hope, but there's no one in a white shirt there. Alexander-Arnold brings Liverpool forward right hand side. Jordan Henderson, you can see he's trying to slow the game down and trying just to keep Liverpool in possession, but everyone else seems to still want to get forward.
He's the one, isn't he? Understands the game. Played in many of these games where it's just trying to close the game out, Jordan Henderson.
Turning him up against 10 men, you don't need the third, but they're still looking for it as Robertson gets it down the left and it's on to Jota, back to Henderson, who gets the shot at goal. Spinner into Mellier's arms, not a great deal of power behind it. Another shot though from Liverpool. They've had their fair share today.
Just broke into the attacking half, didn't he, Jordan Henderson? It was a good over, but not the best of finishes by Jordan Henderson. Not renowned for his finishing, is he?
He has been playing at times more offensively for Liverpool these days, Jordan Henderson, but I don't think that's really his role from coming on today. That's a poor forward ball from Ayling. Thiago intercepts it onto Sadio Mane, challenged by Tyler Roberts. On to Mane, back heel to Henderson, clip towards Robertson, over his shoulder, keeps it on the end line, back to Sadio Mane. Mane does shoot, blocked by Cooper, recovered by Jordan Henderson, who brings it away from the area to Thiago. Poked it to Jota, back to Henderson, who flicks it towards the halfway line, and Virgil van Dijk. And Liverpool had a couple of scares a few minutes ago, but have now resumed total control. Here's Thiago. Jota spins forward, then has a turn of pace but can't shoot at goal. It's blocked on its way. 10 minutes remaining. Leeds 0, Liverpool 2. Goals coming from Salah and Fabinho. Pascal Strout, the sub, has since been sent off for Leeds. Here's Dan James on the left hand side for Leeds United. Turns Alexander-Arnold inside and outside, then crosses, blocked by Alexander-Arnold. Corner for Leeds.
Here's your chance. You're going to score. You want to try and score now, Leeds United? Can they put a quality ball into the box and get that first contact? So important for Leeds now.
80th minute, corner for Leeds, left hand side. Dallas is over it.
Needs the right amount of quality, the right amount of desire.
Ball delivered in towards the near post. Phillips was there, cleared away, recovered by Rafinha on the right. Up against Salah, no one supporting Rafinha. Shifts to the left boot and crosses too deep, too straight. Keeper catches easily. Nice, and then blasts along very quickly to Salah. Cushions the header back to Jota, and Jota can find Mane, and Mane is in here, and Sadio Mane shoots a goal but doesn't score. Meslier came out. There was a challenge in there too, and Sadio Mane could have had 3 or 4 today. He's still got none.
Well, he's wondering, isn't he? Where's this goal going to come from? Is it not going to be his afternoon? What a link that was by Mo Salah. One of the deftest headers you'll see. I mean, Luke Ayling's done really well. He's left one-on-one. Oh, it's nice. It's a wonderful save by the feet.
I think it is the keeper, isn't it? Yeah. It's hard to tell at first viewing who'd actually touched that. It's a brilliant left-footed save from Meslier, as that was going in the bottom corner. Liverpool make a substitution here. Jota is coming off, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain comes on to replace him for the final 7-8 minutes or so. In fact, there'll be a few on top of that, won't there, with the sending off and the injury. Corner Liverpool, right hand side. Alexander-Arnold with it. Once again, Liverpool win the first ball, they win the second ball, but there was a foul by Fabinho, says the referee. The story of last season as well for Leeds. They're really not very good at defending set pieces.
They're not, are they? I mean, they've been really poor this evening. It's quite astounding, really, because even the quality of the Premier League, the amount of goals are scored by set plays, they look real fragile defending the set plays.
The ongoing narrative of last season, how poor they were in those scenarios, and they don't seem to have changed much. It's a good win though from Bamford, who's won it and goes from the halfway line here. Oh, and Alisson was scrambling back. That was going in, and it was just tipped over the top. He nicked it in the centre circle, Bamford. There was no one near him. There was no support. There was no pass. It's an outstanding effort, and it's a good save.
It is a good save. I mean, he's recognised the starting position of Alisson.
That's going in.
And that's all he could do, Patrick Bamford. He had no support around him. Fantastic vision.
Just got the replay there, and you can almost see the panic on Alisson's face as he realised that was dropping in. The corner has been wasted. Liverpool clear. They try and break away, but Junior Firpo has won it back. Headers to Rafinha, who was offside, and that rather sums it up in terms of attacking today for Leeds. Promising for a moment, but then the rug is pulled from beneath them.
Seeing that chance again.
There's some effort from Bamford, isn't it? Left-footed chip. I almost felt when he first tried it, it wasn't going to pop in, and I think Alisson thought that as well until, oh dear, it might.
But he's fed on scraps, hasn't he, this afternoon? Patrick Bamford. He's not really had a lot of supply into the box. I think his runs have been excellent. He's not tried to play up against Virgil van Dijk or Joel Matip, which I don't think you should do as a centre forward. He's just not had that service.
Ball with Thiago. the man who gave the ball away to Bamford, thought would have been a sensational goal. Finds a pass out to this near side to Alexander-Arnold, returned crossfield to Van Dijk. Here's Fabinho, forward to Sadio Mane, little nutmeg on Dallas, and he's still driving here. Good challenge by Calvin Phillips, breaks Oxlade-Chamberlain momentarily before Rafinha just clattered into him in the area. Won the ball, cleared it out. Oxlade-Chamberlain probably would have been offside there, I think, depending on who it touched going through to him. It's either a corner or a free kick here. I'm just trying to sort out the mess now.
But it started off really well, didn't it, with Sadio Mane's...
It's got to be offside.
Yeah.
Great drive from Mane, wasn't it?
Brilliant, wasn't it? Yeah. Saw the opportunity to put it through the legs of the defender, but a recovery tackle once again by Calvin Phillips. I've seen that a lot in this game. Left isolated a lot in midfield, Phillips. Covers so much ground as well.
Firpo down the left-hand side here to Tyler Roberts, who picks it up and turns, but his pass is too heavy to Dan James. Dan James continues to chase. Alisson doesn't panic, finds Van Dijk, back to Matip, on towards Jordan Henderson. Henderson forward, that's a good ball. Oxlade-Chamberlain out of his feet. Goal side of Ayling, helps it on to Salah, who crosses first time, crosses straight to Oxlade-Chamberlain, who could do nothing with that, and it goes out for a goal kick.
With the amount of times Liverpool have broken into this final third, the defensive third of Leeds United has been phenomenal. I mean, they've spent so much time, lack of quality, a lack of definitive decision making. But listen, 2-0 away from home at Leeds. I'm sure they would have took that before the game kicked off.
Plenty of time for Leeds to work their way back in the game. I would imagine we'll get at least 5 on top of the 90 when it comes up in a few minutes' time. So maybe 10 minutes left to play. A goal would change a lot. A third for Liverpool would really send the locals on their way home. Not many have gone as yet. As Jordan Henderson shortly handballs that in the centre circle. Does handball it in the centre circle. He's now pointing at his arm. Yeah, we know. We saw it. Would Leeds players still have some hope of getting something from this game at this point?
I don't think they're allowed not to have hope with this manager and this coaching staff. You know, he's always driving them, isn't he?
Tough day at the office for Leeds United thus far, who would remain just outside the relegation zone. But I always tell fans, and try to remind myself as well, don't really look at the table till you get 10, 11, 12 games in, then you'll know what kind of season you're going to have. Still a long way to go in this campaign, but certainly not a great start from Leeds.
And we're all we're so much richer to have Leeds United in the Premier League anyway. You know, we love watching them.
Jordan Henderson's won it back from James on the halfway line. Mane looks offside, is offside. I mean, it is early, and I'm only saying this to spark some conversation, really. But I mean, we have seen a lot of teams have a great first season and then struggle in their second. Do you see that being the story for Leeds?
Well, I hope not, because I love watching them. I love the way that they take the game to the opposition. But these are serious top footballers who understand tactically where to isolate the opposition. And it just looks at this moment in time, start of this season, is that the opposition have got Leeds' number somewhat.
Jordan Henderson has found Mane over the top, centre to left, and Liverpool could be in here for the third. Sadio Mane doesn't shoot, still doesn't shoot, keeps it, eventually does, it's blocked, goes out for a corner. And Mane there, he's struggling at the moment, Sadio Mane in front of goal. Seemed to have 3, 4, 5 opportunities, and eventually the one he took was the wrong one.
Well, he's showing desperation, isn't he, for this goal? Sometimes it comes to you when you make the right decisions. He made the wrong one there. There was an overload there of Oxlade-Chamberlain and Mohamed Salah. He could have easily squared it for this third goal, but he's desperate for his goal today.
Yeah, there was no way he was going to pass that to Oxlade-Chamberlain or Mo Salah in the penalty area, you felt, and he didn't do that. Did score against Burnley in that 2-0 victory. There were certainly times last season where Felt like the confidence may have drained from Sadio Mane for the first time in a long time as this next corner comes in. It's away by Leeds. Matip won the first header, recovered by Jordan Henderson. Clip forward towards Alexander-Arnold. It's intercepted by Junior Firpo. It's another corner for Liverpool. They're really racking up now.
He's had a tough evening, hasn't he? Firpo is, of course, he's a highly respected fullback, but when you're up against Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold, everyone's going to be struggling.
Corner on the attacking right-hand side. Alexander-Arnold's over it. Right-footed, it's away. Jordan Henderson recovers, finds a simple pass out to that left-hand side, and Thiago, we're hearing there'll be 8 additional minutes at the end of the 90. I'm not sure that'll be warmly welcomed by either team at this point, unless Leeds can do something with this. Tyler Roberts wins it on the halfway. He's got a runner left in Rafinha, and he finds him now. Rafinha left-footed, cross-field, trying to find Bamford, but it's intercepted by the retreating Fabinho, and Liverpool will take possession again. How little do Liverpool and indeed Leeds want 8 more minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a tough 25-30 minutes when he tried to generate, as much excitement for the listeners, but everybody knows that, this second half's going to be the story of the horrible injury.
Unless Leeds can do something here, it would be rather miraculous from this point, and judging by the way the game has gone as well, but plenty of time. Here is Calvin Phillips for Leeds. Poor pass, trying to find Rafinha. Cleared by Alexander-Arnold. Covered by Ayling in the centre circle. Oxlade-Chamberlain will pick his pocket and win it back. Leaves it for Thiago, on to Robertson. It carries over the halfway line. On to Thiago. Back to Jordan Henderson. Just a reminder, we are back with you tomorrow with a further game in the Premier League, so make sure you're with us from 7:30 UK time. Kick off at 8 o'clock again UK time as Everton under Rafa Benitez take on Sean Dyche's Burnley. Kevin Hatchard and Michael Kitely, once of Wolves, once of Stoke, once of Burnley, will be your commentary team for that one. And of course we are back with you next weekend for further Premier League action. Starting on Friday with Leeds again, going to Newcastle. And next weekend's games feature West Ham, Man United and Tottenham Chelsea on Sunday. A couple of big games there. Liverpool Palace is the afternoon match on Saturday as Thiago is in the area here. Sadio Mane finally gets his goal, and that is 3-0 for Liverpool. And that's tired legs from Leeds. They couldn't keep on stopping him, they couldn't keep on blocking him, and Sadio Mane blasts home for 3-0.
Well, he'll go home tonight smiling. He's had a smile on his face all evening. Look at him. He knew the goal was coming. He just knew he would get that opportunity. Game over for Leeds United. It's been a tough afternoon. A brilliant finish by Sadio Mane. He could have squared it, actually.
Yeah, that was definitely on his mind, I'm sure. It was all too easy, wasn't it? I mean, Leeds look out on their feet. They really do, and it's understandable that they do, but
it was a well-worked goal by Liverpool.
It was a good goal.
It was a well-worked goal. They took control in the midfield once again, and really emphatic with the finishing.
You've got to say as well, Sean, despite the narrative of the sending off and the fact it has been a long time in terms of game time, that they've been down a man as well, Leeds, but it doesn't flatter Liverpool, does it, this scoreline? I mean, they could have been 3 or 4 up at half time. They were brilliant in the first 45.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been a standout team, of course. They're a big quality team in this Premier League. And just look at the bench that they've got. I mean, the substitutions that they can bring on, probably people not involved in the squad. But it's a hard place to come to, Elland Road, and to come here and win convincingly 3-0. I think that shows this Liverpool team is high on confidence.
People who think they won't be in the title race this season, I think they will have another thing coming. Reports of the Reds' demise greatly exaggerated. With this victory, they will be up to 3rd in the table, and all of a sudden the Premier League table after just 4 weeks has a bit of a familiar feel to it. The top 4 will be last season's top 4 in a different order for the moment: Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester City.
4 incredible monster clubs in the Premier League. I mean, Leeds United are still in the infancy coming into this level. You know, had a wonderful year last year, and they'll find difficult moments, and this is a difficult moment for them, but they'll react and they'll win their fair share, I'm sure.
One of those games where if we had the boxing throwing the towel rule, I think Bielsa may have just got the towel from the bucket and thrown it out there. Still got 4 minutes remaining if Liverpool really do want to put some icing on the cherry on top of the cake. Plenty of games coming up for Liverpool in the next few weeks. It almost feels like they're well into conserving energy time. Only Sadio Mane really was continuing to push. On Wednesday it's back at Anfield against Milan, Crystal Palace next week, as I mentioned, the Premier League, the Carabao Cup against Norwich follows the Tuesday after, going to Brentford the Saturday after, Porto in the Champions League. Then they round up this stretch of Premier League games with a game at Anfield against Manchester City. And of course the international break is not exactly a rest for everybody. They all go off and play 3 games in World Cup qualifying.
I'm just watching Calvin Phillips. I mean, you know, it's incredible. 95, 96 minutes played, and he's the highest point of press. I mean, they're losing 3-0, and Calvin Phillips is pressing higher than what the centre forward Patrick Bamford is. So different to the way he plays for England.
Liverpool have won yet another corner here, over on the left hand side, which Robertson will take. Whipped in towards Fabinho. His header is blocked by Calvin Phillips, one back by Fabinho. Recovered by Alexander-Arnold. On to Robertson, left hand side. 4-0 would send a real message to those also in the top 4. Maybe that's what's on the minds of the Liverpool players here, as Naby Keita has just come on for Thiago, chips it forward, intercepted but not for long. Oxlade-Chamberlain, lovely run, lovely turn, doesn't find a pass, now he tries to cross, blocked by Liam Cooper. Meslier stops the corner. Oxlade-Chamberlain there may well be regretting not releasing that ball to Mo Salah.
Yeah, he was probably looking for his own goal. He was the one who potentially could have been squared to by Sadio Mane when he scored the 3rd goal, and he'd be looking for a goal himself. I think when you're a sub and you're an attack-minded player, you want to contribute. Great little jinky run into the box, but I think you're right, Tom, he could have just offloaded it earlier.
We are going to run a little bit long with today's coverage because of how much additional time there has been at the end, so we'll be live with you until 6:35 local time. We'll have some further analysis on the game, and indeed we'll give you an update on Harvey Elliott as well, and why that red card was given. For the moment we'll stick with the action as Naby Keita's coming forward, crossed by Robertson, blocked away, recovered by Trent Alexander-Arnold, who takes a swipe at goal. It goes a long way wide. In other leagues I can tell you for a fact the final whistle will be blowing now, but for some reason the Premier League is a real stickler for the amount of time we play. It does sort of feel like you miss your bus because of this. Additional 8 minutes. So again, 6:35 local time, we're going to finish our coverage here. Marching on together, being sung by the many Leeds fans who have remained in full voice for much of this match, despite not having a great deal to cheer. James finds Tyler Roberts on the left. Running in field, Roberts finds Rafinha. Can't get away from Fabinho there. Rafinha has run it back. Liverpool free kick on the edge of their own penalty area, and Craig Pawson still wants to play on for some reason.
He's had a good game, Fabinho. Breaks a lot of things up on the edge of the 18-yard box, doesn't he?
Well, there is the full-time whistle. 8 additional minutes because of the injury to Harvey Elliott, which will be a big talking point after this game, I am sure. In the end, Liverpool won it by 3-0. The goals from Mo Salah in the first half, his 100th in the Premier League. Fabinho 5 minutes into the second half, and then Sadio Mane late on gives Liverpool all 3 points, and the Reds move back into the Premier League's top 4. They go to 3rd, United top, Chelsea 2nd, and Manchester City complete the top 4 for the moment. It has finished with Liverpool winning by 3-0. Phillips brings the ball away for Leeds, looks cross-field early, beautifully into the path of Rafinha, who's in the area, cuts it back, chance for Leeds, drive at goal by Rodrigo, straight at Alisson, Liverpool scrambling away, Leeds come again, Rafinha right-hand side, he scuffs the cross, and Thiago is able to poke away.
What a chance for Leeds United.
Joel Matip steps out, carries forward, finds Salah, return ball, Joel Matip, edge of the area, pass right, Alexander-Arnold, low ball, Mo Salah, 1-0, and that's 100 goals in the Premier League for Mo Salah. It's a brilliant Liverpool move, it's brilliant Liverpool interplay.
We've been questioning the quality coming into the box by Trent Alexander-Arnold. Not here, Tom. This was a wonderful ball into the box.
Well, it could be 2-0, Mane, over the top, open goal. Jota down the right side, got goal side, got to the end line, cut it back. Mane's got to score. Mane doesn't score.
Well, he's got a smile on his face, Sadio Mane, but he'll be grimacing to that.
Sadio Mane on to Jota, return to him. Sadio Mane through on goal. Sadio Mane misses his shot. Mo Salah open goal, doesn't score because of a brilliant challenge from Pascal Struijk.
Well, I can't believe how they've not scored the second goal here, Liverpool.
Alexander-Arnold, right-footed, deep ball, Van Dijk's header, Fabinho, can he turn it home? He can turn it home. A second goal for Liverpool that's been coming for a long, long time.
Second goal for Liverpool, and well deserved. Terrible start to the second half by Leeds.
Good breakaway by Elliott. Struijk slams the door closed, and Harvey Elliott's got a problem here. Yeah, it's a real problem. It's a real problem for Harvey Elliott with that challenge.
Oh, it looks to be an awful injury, unfortunately, for the young lad.
The referee has just sent off Pascal Struijk, I think, here. There's a melee of players around the referee. I didn't think he even gave a free kick first time. Ailing over the top, Rafinha's picked it up. Is he onside? The flag has stayed down. Rafinha cuts it back to Bamford. Oh, he can't turn it home. Thiago is in the area here. Sadio Mane finally gets his goal. And that is 3-0 for Liverpool. And that's tired legs from Leeds. They couldn't keep on stopping him. They couldn't keep on blocking him. And Sadio Mane blasts home for 3-0. And that's how it ended. Sean, we've got about 50 seconds here before we're out of time. Just a quick update. The Premier League have said the red card was for the intensity of the challenge from Struijk and the endangerment of Elliott. That's why it's been given as a red card. It potentially could be overturned this week. We will certainly follow that story. But briefly, Liverpool well worth their victory here, whatever the story is on Harvey Elliott.
Absolutely. Convincing winners, of course. It was a brilliant performance by Liverpool. Could have won it probably 5s and 6s in the end, but just a sad affair when you see a young player like that. I'm sure there will be appeal. I don't think there was real aggression in the tackle, but we've witnessed on the large parts a good game of football, Tom.
John, thank you very much indeed. Congratulations again on yesterday's victory over Tottenham Hotspur as well. We are back with you tomorrow for further Premier League action as Everton take on Burnley with Kev and Michael Kirtley. Be with us then. You've been listening to Premier League Live.
It's the ultimate fusion of football and celebrity.
The Best 11 podcast from Talk Sport.
Johnny Owen and Mark Webster interview the biggest names in popular culture.
Looking back at the role the beautiful game has played in their lives.
Paul Weller. Could I just start off apologising for last weekend?
Actor Stephen Graham. Good morning, Stevie.
Sharing their earliest